Finally, it is 6:05. Good morning for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Will Bowling. Four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs and the New England Patriots reached an agreement Tuesday on a 3-year, $69 million deal that includes $26 million guaranteed. The 31-year-old suffered a season-ending torn ACL in Week 8 last season. When he got hurt, he ranked 7th in the league in catches and was second on the Texans with 496 receiving yards. The New York Giants are adding a quarterback. Again, 10-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson is signing a 1-year, $10.5 million deal with the Giants. He joins a quarterback room that includes Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. Last season in Pittsburgh, Wilson started 11 games, finishing with 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And the Predators last night beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 on the road. Luke Evangelista scored twice. UC Saros secured his 200th career win with 34 saves. For all your foundation repair waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. At long last, your Wednesday morning starts right now. 104.5 The Zone. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Crew's all here, and I would have gotten 5 minutes of extra sleep if I'd known we started the show this late.
Straight up. Well, I've been laid around. Keisha
actually to talk to.
She had to push me this morning to wake up. Dude, something weird. Apple is doing that thing. I'll let you get finished with the update, but Will.
Well, I got nothing else. What you got?
Apple's doing that thing again. My battery been dying quicker.
Yeah.
That's because you did the update.
Listen, man, it is throwing me off. And for some reason, my alarm goes from making a sound to just buzzing. And I'm like, I always have a sound. Like, I know me. Like, I was about to go right back to sleep this morning. Keisha's like, Mo, you don't hear your alarm? It's like, no. It was just weird. Like, Apple, don't start playing around. Just because Ron Slade finally gets a new phone doesn't mean I need to get one too, okay? Like, I'm good to the fall.
It's telling you. Like I said, you can't do uploads, though, or the updates, else your phone will go to crap.
See,
I always do them. I've never had this problem before.
I always
have issues with them once I update.
That's probably what I need to do right now is check for an update.
Because I don't get a new phone, like, every year.
This is the third year of mine not getting one. That sounds so first class. I mean, so first world. Like, we're speaking about getting a new phone first.
That's world. A 3-year-old phone?
Yeah, yes. I'm like 2-3 phases old.
Okay.
Yeah. I hadn't gotten a new one in a while.
No need to do one every year.
It's my first time in a minute not getting one.
I like it. I like getting a new one every year.
I might be close.
All of us have the needs to get one every single year.
And
that's all I'm saying.
Man, my laptop is acting iffy too, so.
Well, mine's a refurbished, so I wouldn't complain over there.
I'm 7 years in on this one. Yeah, I know.
That is one thing
My
that
first one crashed.
I put off getting a new laptop for so long, and I did it last year, or I guess a year and a half ago now. Worth it.
That
is one investment that is 100% worth it.
Like 7-8 years into this one, I feel like
that's
now.
That's actually legit.
It's held up good though, so I'm not rushing on the laptop, but like the phone situation is really bothering. But I just hate the upload. Then we also have to do the security stuff here with the phone.
2-step authentication.
Yeah,
or whatever the heck it is.
Authentication.
But yeah.
Yeah, this is my phone. If you can see, you would never know, but the back of it is all jacked.
It's shattered too.
You a no case person?
No, I have a case right here. I took it out of the case.
Okay, I don't know. Sorry.
I just said I took it out of the case.
Yeah, I rocked like that for a while. I will say I had a phone that I was just like, man, I'm not going up there to that store to do this over again. So
I know that's what's the pain is like. I don't like transferring all my stuff.
Yeah,
and doing all the whole iCloud stuff.
I can tell you haven't done it in a while because that is a way easier than it used to be.
Is it?
It's way easier than it used to be.
It's been a little minute for me. Yeah, so which is I ain't gonna say it's rare, but I just hadn't done it in a while.
My screen time is low enough now to where I can always get through and the updates don't kill me because I'm just not on my phone that much.
I was bragging so much like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
About my screen time. I
what was
don't. It was like right at like 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
6 hours. I'm back up to
bad.
8. Like, and I hate it. I'm
At
gonna
least
be
it's
honest
not
with you.
double digit.
I know, no, for real. Like, when was it? I think it was during the season. I was double digits. I was just like, this is too much. This is way too much.
I've never gotten above, I think, 8 or 9 maybe,
Yeah.
but I'm usually around 3.5.
Yeah, I'm tripping. I got to get off of it more. I know I am. I got to go
That's all
outside
right.
and like build a deck.
Self-aware.
Or something.
Build a deck or something. Nice.
Well, my brother-in-law's doing his right now, so I'm of the mindset to like go help him out, but I really don't want to. Keisha's cousin needs to move. Like soon too, y'all.
Does she live by you?
She does. Shout like most of her family's
are you
around
the
us in
working guy there
Hendersonville.
for her?
Listen, I got a truck, Kayla.
So yes. If you got a truck, then you're him.
Hey, listen, I'm this close to offering her, hey, Victoria, I'll shoot you the cash to pay for the movers, okay? Like, I'm at that point right now because I do not want to walk up some stairs with a couch, man. I can't remember the last time I helped somebody move.
Yeah, you can get it from point A to point B, but point C is going to need to be a company.
Listen, man, I was just like
Union employees.
and I knew I was like, look, we can get the boys work. I said we can put it on the truck. After that, it's on the boys.
Group
at that
chat
point.
gets real quiet when you ask who can help me move.
No.
Real quiet.
Inky
Whether
was-
that's the family group chat or the friend group chat.
He was the only one that got a truck, and his dad was smart. Like it was 4 or 5 of us. Inky dad was by far the smartest individual I'd known at the time in hindsight. Inky, instead of getting a 4-seater, Kayla, no, he got him a 2-seater like Chevy Colorado truck.
There you
Okay, and then on top of that, wasn't even the biggest truck, so Ink couldn't help anybody move.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
It's like,
Pops.
sorry, my truck's too small.
Straight up. Like, if you got a couch, I ain't got nothing for you.
Yeah.
TV? Oh, we can move a TV.
Sure.
Yesterday afternoon, Adam Schefter on Twitter says ESPN sources Tennessee will hold an additional private workout with potential number 1 overall pick Cam Ward. The Titans have become increasingly impressed with Ward. And while they are expected to listen to offers for the number 1 overall pick, it now would take an even stronger package to acquire the draft's top selection. What does it mean?
I got a new song. I'm going to sing it at 7 o'clock, though. I don't want to sing it right now.
singing.
I got a
You got to
song.
warm up your vocal cords? What are we talking
So we
about?
get
Early.
karaoke
Just
this
a little
morning.
bit, man. Like, we got karaoke. I was walking out of my garage this morning. I was like, man, I got to have something for today. Because after Russell Wilson went to New York, Jameis is up there, too.
Yep.
I was like, I need a song. I got a song for y'all, just so you know.
Is it about New York?
Fair enough.
No, you will love it. You guys
Story of the day
will
yesterday.
I can't wait.
absolutely love it.
I'm going to record it on my phone.
Somebody on Twitter said, imagine what the prayers are going to be like in the Giants locker room. I'm not making fun of prayer, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of cooks in that kitchen now between Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. They're about to have prayer battles in the locker room before they go out and lose to another NFC East team.
This
Pretty
matchup,
wild there.
this matchup between Jameis and Russ, like, is gonna lead to
wild.
like the highest payment Jameis Winston's ever had in his life. Like, can you imagine them sitting down in front of a computer with a camera and recording each other, like
No.
having
They did a
conversations?
podcast. They did a podcast. Winston and Wilson.
Yeah, that would be good.
Joe Rogan, move over.
Winston and
That would
Wilson
be
in the
good.
morning.
I'm
New York
telling you.
Drive Time Radio.
That is an odd
Like,
couple right
seriously, like the motivation coming out of that quarterback room with DeVito the Italian too.
there. Oh, no, we forgot about DeVito, the hometown boy.
I mentioned him too. Yeah.
And DeVito.
Oh,
good.
absolutely.
Tommy Cutlets with Jameis and Russell Wilson. So Cam Ward's your quarterback. Congratulations. Maybe we'll talk about it more as the morning goes on. 615-737-1045. Stream the show live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. An SEC Network analyst explains why he likes Tennessee over Kentucky on Friday. Right here next. RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Talking with SEC Network analyst and Vol for Life, Dane Bradshaw. We had a number of things with Dane of the Tennessee-Kentucky matchup on other big games for SEC teams in the Sweet 16, starting with the biggest game in the history of Tennessee and Kentucky basketball.
No, there's never been more at stake than this right here. As you guys, I'm sure, have already talked about, they've never met in the NCAA tournament. You got Tennessee, who's been swept earlier this year, and Lamont Butler, who's such a cagey veteran. I love watching him play. Surprising to see a little bit of a slip up there from a media perspective because, I mean, what else do you need to put up in the locker room other than that statement if you're Tennessee? I mean, you didn't need any extra motivation. I don't know if it'll necessarily make a difference, but at the same time, if you needed any extra motivation, they gave a little bit there. So it's going to be an awesome one. Tennessee was awful from three in both those games. I think the first matchup, wasn't that the one they shot over 43s in a game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all Kentucky's done is each time go 12 for 24. And Kentucky's really unique because they share the ball so quickly, run good offense, get it kind of going. They reverse sides of the floor a bunch. And I think that gets Tennessee in rotation more defensively than some other teams that say, hey, I'm going to be, let's say Mark Sears, for example, just a guard that's going to try to break you down off the bounce some. Tennessee can guard that really well. It's can Tennessee disrupt Kentucky's offense, who isn't high on dribble penetration, one-on-one breakdowns. And so that's where they got to get into the passing lane some, make their passes and catches difficult. And that includes the big man, Amari Williams. He's a point center for Kentucky. A lot of the offense runs through him. He's got great vision, and you've really got to put a ton of ball pressure on him to try to get some deflections and disrupt some of those great passes that he can throw.
SEC Network's Dane Bradshaw, our guest. And Dane, that was kind of my next question. Is this a bad matchup for Tennessee, or is it as simple as adjusting based on some of the things that didn't work in those first two games? Because I imagine Rick Barnes has plenty of film to show a lot of defensive breakdowns for those first two matchups going into Friday.
Yeah, I think if Kentucky was fully healthy with Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler, who's been just really courageous working through that shoulder injury, I would say typically this is a bad matchup. I don't like the Florida matchup for Tennessee, even though Tennessee got them in Knoxville once this year. Just Florida's size, for example, and then the way Kentucky's offense runs that I was alluding to, I think those aren't favorable. However, Kentucky has just done a great job having role players step up, and every time you think they're out or, hey, great run, but now you've had this much adversity, that they just keep finding ways to win the big games. And but I do like, given the injuries, given the fact that they aren't as healthy, I like Tennessee in this one. If Kentucky was 100%, I might feel a little bit differently, but anytime you're a competitor, man, you just love another shot at a team that beat you twice to have a chance to send them home. And so the thing that's interesting for Kentucky is these role players are starting to get confidence. It's not just a one-game thing. Andrew Carr, I don't think Tennessee's seen the best version of him necessarily. He's much more than a role player now. He was nursing some back injuries throughout the season. He's healthier than he's been. They do a lot of things. He's a cleanup guy, offensively and defensively. And then the freshman Colin Chandler, who came off a 2-year Mormon mission. He's an older guy. He's starting to find confidence and knock down some threes to try to help mitigate Jackson Robinson's season-ending injury.
Dane Bradshaw with us this morning. Dane, when it comes down to this matchup between Tennessee and Kentucky on the basketball side of things, looking at the head coaches, how do you scheme? How do you approach this if you're Rick Barnes going to this one against a guy who's, I don't want to say Kentucky's ahead of schedule because NIL helps with a lot of stuff, but he's got Kentucky basketball back where their fan base wants it to be. How do you attack this coach to coach if you're Rick Barnes in this situation?
Yeah, I think it has to be the most constant, harassing defensive pressure they've had all season, which can be their strength. But again, because Kentucky runs such good offense, reminds me a little bit back in the day of Kevin Stallings at Vanderbilt. They do a lot of back cutting, a little bit more modern offense now at Kentucky. But when you play against those teams like that, I remember, covering, as an analyst, being like, hey, coach, are you going to switch a bunch? How are you going to defend the back door? This and that. And some of these hard-nosed coaches like Frank Martin when he was at South Carolina, that was great defensively. Rick Barnes at Tennessee. A lot of it's like, I'll tell you how we're going to do it. Nothing creative. We're going to ball pressure the heck out of them, put pressure on their passes to where they can't even make the pass. And I think that's what Tennessee's DNA is. They'll switch, in an emergency situation if the guy gets clipped on a screen and go back. But a lot of it is going to be bear down, get in your guy, and really harass them all game long. And I think too, if they can get Lamont Butler, the point guard for Kentucky, in any sort of foul trouble, or just continue to make him uncomfortable because he's got that shoulder injury, I think that's a huge key to the game. If you can get him to the bench to where he plays less than 25 minutes, I mean, if Kentucky's got to play with what would really be third string point guard, because Jackson Robinson was filling in for that position for 15 or more minutes of the game, I think that's a huge key, knowing just how aggressive defensively Tennessee's going to be.
Dane Bradshaw with us. Dane, when you look at the role that Jordan Gainey has played, man, I love the fact that he can come off and get you points, but how crucial is it for him to be a complement to the attitude that Zakai Ziegler brings to the game, too? Because he's one of the players to me with Gainey, I feel like you love him if he's with you and you hate him if he's on the other side, because he got that edge about him.
Yeah, no, he's been great. And as great as Zakai Ziegler has been with some of the ball screen lob dunks to Felix Agpara, I don't know where the stats are now. I think at one point this season, Agpara was leading the country in dunks because they were getting so many of those shots at the rim. And I give all credit to Rick Barnes, the staff, because they didn't really have that back-to-the-basket post-up guy this season the way they did a year ago, but they found a way to get those paint points and lob dunks with the two-man game there with Ziegler and Agpara. But when it comes to scoring off the ball screen, Gainey does it better than anybody. Like, he reads it so well. When he comes off that screen, he knows how to keep the defender on his back, when to kind of, the phrase is put the defender in jail, kind of have him on your back there. You can either shoot your pull-up there or get all the way to the rim. He reads it extremely, extremely well. And I think when you get down to crunch time and these teams know each other so well and you just need guys to go make a play, if I got to put somebody in the ball screen situation on offense for Tennessee, I'm taking Gainey, even more so than Ziegler. Chaz Lanier, more off-the-ball stuff anyway. But I think Gainey's been that good and that confident in the mid-range game and making the right decision in those ball screen situations.
Dane Bradshaw of the SEC Network joining us this morning. We're talking to NCAA tournament. So we all know there will be eyes on that game, but there are more than a handful of SEC teams still in the mix. What's another good matchup in the Sweet 16 to look out for, Dane?
Oh, boy. Take your pick. I'm really excited to see the Alabama one Thursday night against BYU, another high-powered offense. That could be a game certainly in the 80s. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Alabama is and the thing is, as much credit as they get for shooting the three ball, they hadn't shot the three that great this year. They're tremendous from two, and it's all about their layups and attacking the rim to open up their three. If Alabama can find their shooting stroke, they could be yet again onto another Final Four. And then, of course, Auburn, Michigan. I wonder too. I don't know, if the Auburn coaching staff they hadn't played Michigan this year. With Michigan beating A&M, I'm not sure that's not what Auburn wanted, because A&M has been such a tricky matchup for Auburn, and they lost the last matchup in College Station. That I think, all things considered, you probably pick Michigan if you're Auburn. So anxious to see if they can get back to being the number one team in the country. And I think getting some of that pressure off them, having people start to doubt them a little bit more. I thought they played extremely well this year with the target on their back. But Bruce Pearl and his teams are always at their best when teams are counting them out. I think right now they're seeing the narrative out there that I think has been correct, that they're no longer the best team in the country. They're no longer the favorites to win it all. What's happened to Auburn? Why isn't Broom as good? All those things that Bruce Pearl does such a good job of saying, all right, we're a little bit of the underdog now. You can throw that number one ranking out. Nobody out there is picking Auburn at this point. Let's prove them wrong.
We spoke a little bit about no true Cinderellas in this round of Sweet 16. Well, technically, Arkansas is a double-digit seed. Dane, are you surprised at all just with the success that Coach Cal and Arkansas have had up to this point?
Oh, 100%. I mean, when they started conference play 0-5, the Boogie Flan got hurt. I thought I would have been, even though that Lunardi, even at that time, still had them as one of the last teams in because the SEC metrics were so good. It was still one of those, I'd be way more surprised if Arkansas made the tournament than if they didn't make it. Yet they kept getting better as the season went on. Tennessee fans know Jonas Adu, and that was one guy that was like, I don't care how big of a rut he's in, confidence-wise, they're not using him much. It's still in him. Like, this can be one of the best bigs in the SEC, and better late than never. And towards the end of the season, he's become really good for Arkansas and given them a big-time threat down low. And he's done some good things against bigs that he traditionally doesn't fare well against. And so the confidence through the roof for Arkansas. And it's just so crazy that, like, their whole season changed when they shocked everybody, won on the road at Rupp in a revenge game for Cal. Yep. And it hadn't been perfect since that point, but it's been pretty close. And that was the turning point for the entire season. And now look at them in a Sweet 16. I'm really stunned.
There is Dane Bradshaw of the SEC Network with us on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. If you missed any of that, you're waking up late this morning, you can check it out wherever you download podcasts on the 104.5 The Zone Podcast Network. Going with the Vols against Kentucky on Friday.
Yeah, no doubt. It's fascinating, man. I said this just after Dang off the phone, but I love hearing those guys break the game down like that. Specifically when, like, as a fan, like, on my side of it, I speak for myself. Like, I look at the game and just see the results of the play. Like, I see, hey, the ball went in. Oh, hey, they got a steal. Man, that was an awesome block. And I've recognized, like, defensive, like, sets where they really trap somebody or blitz them, in the words of football at times, and create turnovers and mismatches. But hearing Dane speaking about just like the plan that you'd expect Coach Barnes and his group to have against a Kentucky team and their strength of how, and I feel like, Will, one of you guys have brought this up, like the way Mark Pope runs offense, like his offensive like play calling is unique. So watching what is known as a very defensive team in the Vols play against a guy, like the schematics of that matchup this weekend. Again, I know the Lamont Butler conversation is going to rule it, but like the art of what Coach Pope and what Coach Barnes can do Friday, like this seems like as pure as it get when it comes to basketball. Yeah, no doubt. He obviously had some good things to say about the matchup coming up between Tennessee and Kentucky. And you're right, turning on that defense even more. I mean, that's going to be such a crucial part of Tennessee's game for this upcoming game. And then, just all the other SEC teams that are in the mix right now still. And I kind of joked, I think last week before I left, about I had 4 teams in the Final Four and they were all from the SEC. And it's funny, though, now that you're continuing to see the brackets as they get smaller and smaller, you're starting to see, like, there could very well be, a dominance of SEC teams when it's all said and done. Just because for right now, at least, you're seeing what you saw in conference play. There's been some close games, but overall, to have that many get out of that first weekend was pretty impressive. And, you still have all those strong teams as well, with Tennessee in there as being one of them.
It's interesting. ESPN.com has 3 insiders and analysts, Jeff Borzello, Myra Metcalf, and Joel Lenardi, pick all 8 games this weekend. They totally agreed on every game but one. 7 of the 8 games, they all picked the same team to win, including Tennessee. All 3 of them have Tennessee beating Kentucky. The only game they are split on is BYU-Alabama, where Joe Lenardi is the only one picking Alabama.
Okay. Really?
Interesting.
Okay.
That game, whatever the over is, I wonder if it's over 180. I mean, it honestly might be, because those teams don't know defense. If defense sat in their lap and called a mama, they would have no idea what it was. They shoot, and they are so fast, the tempo that both those teams play. It's going to be so much fun for the neutral observer
Sears has been lights out, I feel like, as of late, though, too. So, like, I can understand picking him, like, strictly based off of him. He's fun to watch, man. When he leans to the right and shoot that left-handed jumper, like, it is as sweet as it gets. And when he that's the thing, too, I guess why it makes it super interesting with him or with Alabama is if he gets hot. Like, he's the straw that stirs the drink for the most part with their squad. And he will just pull up from the logo. His ability to drive and hit a field goal within the arches, too, has been good, man. So that's a hard game. It should be good. I don't know a whole lot about BYU, but from what I know about Alabama, they can get it going.
Offense.
Do they have a streaker, like somebody that can go on a run?
They got multiple.
There it is, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
To the Kentucky Vols game, though, too, I want to see if they're going to allow them to, what Dane say, play that aggressive, like harassing defense. I do want to see that, and also this too. Like when your bigs, when Kentucky goes to their back cutting offense and getting to the rim, where's Igor going to be as far as like one fouls, but two just the defense of it all too, and seeing if Akpara can be a real good rim protector. That's going to be huge. They can get Kentucky's big into foul trouble also by attacking
Amari Williams.
him.
It does feel like Amari Williams is the kind of player like Jamin Brakefield of Ole Miss who can isolate Akpara and take him on the dribble, which to me is his biggest weakness. To be fair, it's the weakness of a lot of big men.
Yeah, no,
you isolate them and take them off the bounce, and you try to get around them where they can't just sit right in front of the rim and protect it. Yeah. It makes things more challenging, but tricky matchup, no doubt. It is not the team that Tennessee matches up best against. But you heard Dane Bradshaw there just say that maybe a fully healthy Kentucky has a better chance. I know a not healthy Kentucky's beaten Tennessee twice this year, but if it's hard to beat a team 3 times, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times, not 100%.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 is our number. Mike Vrabel can't quit old receivers. That's next. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee with locations at White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. And when Mike Vrabel has the chance to sign an old wide receiver, he just absolutely has to do it.
Has to.
Stephon Diggs, 3 years, $69 million, a four-time Pro Bowler who last season tore his ACL in Week 8, had 496 receiving yards, Week 1 through 7, and was seventh at the NFL in catches with 47 of them. The Patriots miss out on Chris Godwin. They land Stephon Diggs. A good move or bad move for the New England Patriots?
Good move, in my opinion, facilitating their young quarterback. I think seeing Drake May last year makes you want to pour in. They also have a high draft pick this year. Like, if Vrabel was ever going to restart what he had here in Nashville, Tennessee, like, you got to get veteran guys around. And these are also, to me, in my opinion, they're locker room setters. Is what he want to have moving forward. And Vrabel's also at this point, too. Like, he's a prideful guy. Like, winning has to be a part of the equation of what they got going on. Like, your favorite son has come back home again. I thought Mayo was it, but your favorite son has come back home again. It's fascinating watching them facilitate Vrabel with this amount of money in free agency. I mean, they had a terrible season, got rid of a coach for him. I'll say this real quick. Mayo was a hit job. It shows now, is what I'd say in that situation.
What do you mean by hit job? For those who are unfamiliar.
You couldn't have your big legacy coach immediately after Belichick. Yep. You have to have a gap coach. It's the same way it was, like, honestly, as bad as it was for Lane Kiffin, like, leaving the Vols, like, there had to be a gap coach in between is what it was.
I'm with you on that.
You can't necessarily go from one legacy guy to the other. They always say that in business, right? You can't follow up your big guy with another. Well, you can't follow up the legacy guy with the guy that you think is going to be that strong.
That's a really good point. To the point of signing Stephon Diggs, yeah, I think it's an okay move, honestly. I do get, though, the Mike Vrabel signing old wide receivers. And that is a story that I feel like will never go away as long as Mike Vrabel is a head coach. I feel like he loves to bring in guys that he thinks he can still get something out of. And the most recent was DeAndre Hopkins here, right? Which actually worked out pretty well for the Titans, especially during that season that Vrabel was still here. I think he likes to have somebody in the room that's not only a veteran, because they did sign Matt Collins as well, but he's like somebody who's done it at a high level as well in Stephon Diggs. And I think that's a trend that Mike Vrabel likes to have, especially with a young quarterback in Drake May, just to know that he has a guy, again, like a DeAndre Hopkins for a Will Levis type of situation. But he's old, like he's 31, he's coming off of an ACL. How productive really can he be? I think that's the big question, guys. We always wonder, because every player is different when it comes to these ACL injuries. We had a Robert Woods who didn't skip a beat in terms of like the recovery process, but we've seen other guys that it takes them a full year to really truly get back into themselves.
That's true.
I think that this overall was an okay signing for me.
Yeah, it's just it's a microcosm of who's available at wide receiver. When you can't get Chris Godwin, this is the next best option in terms of a veteran number one for your quarterback. I do not like him as a locker room addition, though. Because Stephon Diggs, I mean, every team can put up with one diva wide receiver, but he's kind of 1.5 diva wide receivers.
Yeah, he is. He is hilarious.
I don't know if that's the best thing for Drake May, to be honest with you. But we'll see.
I know.
Mean, we can't really criticize this signing and then also say Dan Moore was a great signing for the Titans. I know it's a little bit apples and oranges, but like doing the whole like, oh, it's an overpay. Like, well, yeah, if you're signing anybody in free agency, it's an overpay at the top, top 50 players of the offseason.
And also, too, as the two injuries, I've really started to readjust my mindset on. One is the ACL. I feel like they're so normal these days as far as, like, there's no question if you're going to get back. It's a matter of, to your point, though, Kayla, when are you going to feel normal again?
Yeah.
And then the other one's the UCL one. Like the Tommy John surgery, neither one of those like bother me as much anymore after seeing people recover as quick as possible. Looking at this, I'm not sure if y'all saw this also, but Adam Schefter posted their Patriots entire offseason edition.
Yeah, they've been busy.
It's so many like Titans wants that we mentioned on here as far as like Milton Williams being a part of it. Harold is gone, of course, but Josh Dobbs is on this list, man. Morgan Moses is on this list. And it's also from the conversations that's been around, like guys that I've know, like these are, if like we're speaking of like Vrabel types, like Diggs to me, I think works because the attitude that Vrabel has.
I think so too.
And the mantra that you want in your locker room, he has too. And the same goes for Robert Spillane.
I was just going to say.
No,
Spillane, yeah.
That's
Former Titan, Robert Spillane.
Actually,
Vrabel
pretty
guy.
good player.
Yeah, he turned it.
He's been a very good player.
I remember him in Pittsburgh. Like Spillane was just a teamer. He's practice squad with us for the longest. And he finally got his shot and ran with it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Vrabel types on this list. Caleb Von Chesson, like
Chad Gibbons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Gibby.
No, for
Who
real.
gave
Garrett
him
Bradbury
the name
at
Dr.
center.
Gibby. Maybe Aaron Brewer will be next when he leaves Miami.
Well, they got Garrett Bradbury. So
Yeah, they got
right.
Bradbury
They got
now.
Bradbury.
Yeah.
He's kind of their Ben Jones signing.
Yeah. And I
Older
think
center
so.
to set the culture.
You mentioned like that Diggs personality and how it's not been great in locker rooms, right? I think Vrabel also likes the challenge of being able to set his culture and like you're going to be this way, right? You're going to fit in what I'm putting out here.
Yeah.
I think that's what he sees in some of these guys too.
I can't lie. He's put together so far a good roster. Like having Dobbs to support Drake May. Like what other guy would you rather have be your backup quarterback than Josh Dobbs when you got a rookie like that? You know, and it's going to be fascinating what they do with Joe Milton. I will say that. I do think he's still a bargaining chip for them to get more draft picks at some point. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Vols guy. I'm saying that because his name continuously comes up as a quarterback that can help you. Homer, big time.
I wonder how many Milton Dobbs combos there'll be when it comes to Vols football season if they're both there.
The Astro and the Rocket, I guess is what you call them.
I like that. That could be a podcast.
I can't wait to tell you guys my song. Can't wait to tell you guys my song.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to, again.
If you missed it earlier, Ramon has a song based on something that Adam Schefter said for the Titans.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's warming up his voice.
Can't wait.
Still interested on the offensive line for New England. Vidarian Lowe, sixth-round pick out of Illinois, slated to be their left tackle this year. They did bring in Morgan Moses at right tackle. Garrett Bradbury at center. It's still not a good offensive line on paper. And Drake May is now throwing to Mac Hollins, who you mentioned, Stephon Diggs, who we're talking about, and Demario Douglas. So I don't know. It's interesting. We're going to find out how much Drake May can really elevate the guys around him. The defense on paper is still solid enough. Harold Landry, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, and Keon White, the front four. All hinges on Drake May taking the next step, not having a sophomore slump.
It's interesting, too, looking at this Milton Williams sign. Like, he went and got him a Jeffrey Simmons. It's what this is, too.
He did, but he doesn't have Jeffrey Simmons' production. I think you're projecting that he will become Jeffrey Simmons, which is interesting, which also means Jeff's about to get paid more, too, is usually how that goes.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 is our number as hour two begins. Coming up, the Giants have signed a quarterback. What does it mean for the Titans? That's next.
Do you want to feel and look better in 2025? This can be the year that your hair is fuller and thicker. Hey, it's Kayla, and I went to We Grow Hair, grew my hair back, and I can tell you it was the biggest confidence boost ever. You can do that too. All you got to do, give them a call at 615-376-6010. We grow hair, I should say, right here in Nashville. They've been doing it for almost 30 years with proven solutions that work. Here are just a few. I've been doing the 45-minute laser and the PRP treatments. That's for men and women ever since I got started on that plan. That was about 9 months ago. And then no one else in Tennessee has the ARTIS robotic FUE procedure and We Grow Hair's high-density hair transplants. It's going to give you 2 times more hair in one procedure if you are looking to go that route. Backed by the only company I trust with my thinning hair, I go to We Grow Hair. You can call them right now at 615-376-6010, or you can go online to wegrowhair.com for a free consultation today.
7 a.m. for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. Four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs and the New England Patriots reached an agreement Tuesday on a 3-year, $69 million deal that includes $26 million guaranteed. The 31-year-old suffered a season-ending torn ACL in Week 8. When he got hurt, he ranked 7th in the league in catches and was second on the Texans with 496 receiving yards. The New York Giants are adding another quarterback. 10-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson is signing a 1-year, $10.5 million deal with the team. He joins a quarterback room that includes Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. Last season in Pittsburgh, Wilson started 11 games, finishing with 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. The Predators last night beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 on the road. Luke Evangelista scored twice, and UC Saros secured his 200th career win with 34 saves. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. RKW brewed by Scooter's Coffee rolls into the 7 a.m. hour on this Wednesday, a segment I'm very much looking forward to coming up in 20 minutes. I'm going to give Ramon and Kayla 4 scouting reports from Lance Zierlein at NFL.com of draft quarterbacks over the last 10 years who were picked in the top 10. Out of those 4, one of them is Cam Ward. I'm going to have them guess who I am talking about and see if they can find Cam Ward in the scouting reports of veteran quarterbacks coming up at 7:20.
Where in the world of quarterbacks is Cam Ward?
That's right.
Not where's Waldo.
No, where's Waldo?
Ward?
Never been a Waldo. He's a Cameron.
Where's Cam Wow, as Buck and Lucas coined him yesterday. Cam Wow.
Is that what they call him?
Yeah, they were Bert. It was a Bert-ism, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Says they're going to make a commercial of instead of the Sham Wow, the Cam Wow.
The Sham Wow. I was like, what is Cam Wow coming from?
I
The
get
Sham
it now.
Wow.
The
Yes.
Sham Wow.
So that was good yesterday.
Yes.
I get it, man.
Very nice.
Russell Wilson is heading to New York. They decided that one quarterback to lead the FCA meetings on mornings before practice is not enough.
It's awesome.
Not a bad thing. Again,
bad thing.
I love it. I'm here for it. Not making fun of people who do those things, but it is a funny cultural fit. Russell Wilson in the same locker room as Jameis Winston. Have the Giants officially given up on drafting a quarterback, guys?
Yes, they have. That also leads me to my song that I told you guys I had for you. Will, you set me up and didn't it? You a poet and didn't even know it, my brother.
Can make a rhyme anytime.
I did, man. You did it again, man. But that was it for me, though, yesterday, y'all. I'll be honest with you. My homeboy texted me. I was at a baseball game. It was like, Russ is gone to team up with Jameis. I was like, what? The Giants signed Russell Wilson? I was like, oh, it's over now. Sure. I just want you guys to know that you chat lovers that we have on YouTube, man, the people that tweet at me just say I'm just hating, that I never do the same thing for Pittsburgh, for all of you folks that we say and we talk to and we engage with, and we have this conversation daily about Cam Ward and trade back and Russell Wilson and quarterback problem solves here in Nashville. I just want y'all to know I concede. I conceded yesterday at about 6 o'clock, okay?
So no trading back.
It's a wrap for me. It's a wrap for me. And so much so I was walking out of my garage this morning and I said to myself, listen, I need something to show the people that I appreciate them for sticking with me through this hard times that I've been engaged in trading back talk for months now. It just made sense to me. Kayla, as we go, I just want y'all to know my tune is this, as I've been clearing my throat. Will and I took a block around, and it goes, Cam Ward is coming to town. Cam Ward is coming to town. Cameron Ward is coming to town. It's a wrap. My brother.
It's over.
It's over.
It's official.
We're here. You
Write it down. 7:05 and March 26th.
You will not hear me mention trade back, trade down, get more assets, surround them with people. Absolutely not. Russ to New York. Kayla, Cam Ward is coming to town.
That's the billboard. We're gonna see,
That's the energy I had. Like Rudolph,
Yeah.
you feel me? Like Santa Claus. And he can be that for a lot of people.
Christmas in March.
I like
Christmas
it.
in March, and better, even better, Will, you get your real presents in April at the draft in Green Bay.
And some people still think it's Cole, but that's okay.
I appreciate the backdrop right there,
I know.
man.
I mean, that was like a modern.
I was curious what the
coming
beat
to town.
was. I don't know why. I thought you were going to
okay.
rap something.
I liked it.
Well, I did too. That's why I pulled up that. But if I had known you were going to go that, I would have brought up some Christmas music.
I
But it
thought
was
went
better
well.
that way.
I thought it was a modern twist to
That's
a
why I
very
texted
old
you that.
Christmas
That is-
classic.
I'd give you a ticket to Hollywood.
You give me a
Yeah.
ticket.
You're going to Hollywood, Ramon Foster.
Cam Ward, come to
Got the
Nashville.
golden ticket.
Yeah, don't replay this or something. No, I can't even mention that. Rush to New York means we're locked in at number 1, baby.
He's in.
Yeah, we
He
get
is in.
Christmas in April.
So you're just ignoring the fact that Adam Schefter yesterday says the Titans are still
March.
shopping the number 1 overall pick?
Hell no. Schefter
You don't
can-
believe it?
Hey, lie to your mama. Don't lie to me. You feel me?
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later.
You ain't
but,
got no reason to lie to me, Adam.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And I say that not as a bad thing. I say that as,
Sure.
look, this is what you're left with, but New York has played their card.
Yes, they have.
And New York is in a way different position than most. Like, I was speaking to somebody yesterday about this at the ballpark. I was just like, New York has gotten publicly embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Saquon doing this thing, like, that's one thing. But to have the audio, the visual,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe
that
Shane, the GM, and
they
not
gotta
great.
get some. So, good people, man. I appreciate y'all sticking with me. My trade back folks, man, if y'all feel like I feel and feel the need to call in and say your farewells to our hopes and dreams, hey, Travis Harder, boy, my Babs husband, hey, we held this down for a long time, Trav. I know.
You tried.
We
your
even
hardest.
engaged with each other a little bit
I
yesterday.
completely relate
Yeah.
with you.
Travis,
I'm with
that's on me, man. Like, I didn't want to do this. I'm team trade back. I'm team trade back two times, okay? But look,
Not anymore.
not anymore. Get in the boat, man. Get in the car with me. I'll pull up. You ain't even got to give me no gas money. We'll ride down the street and we'll take the car to the
Take the electric one.
facility ourselves. We'll drive to Green Bay at this point, Travis, is what I'm telling you. Like, the trade back team, we're cooked. And it's a good thing for us. All right, y'all? Don't be happy. Don't be sad because it's over. Be happy because it
Smile
happened.
because
Okay?
it happened.
Right.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you
We
go.
had a good run, y'all.
Positive spin on it. And you had
had a
to
good run.
have a run like that.
We
and,
did.
It's never over till it's over.
No.
However, it's over.
is.
And Russell Wilson, we spoke about this yesterday, and it was like, oh, there's still Russell Wilson out there. Not so fast, my friend, because he is now in a room of quarterbacks that could have their own Netflix show, I'm sure. Knowing that, what's it, DeVito? Is it Tommy?
Tommy
It's
DeVito.
Thomas,
Tommy
right?
DeVito there, and Jameis Winston, and
Tommy
Russell
Cutlets.
Wilson.
Tommy Cutlets is so
I made
funny.
a cutlet yesterday. It was
I
good.
do want to go to Cat's Deli up there, though. That's all I want to see. I see the videos on it.
Does it have
yeah,
cats walking around
Deli.
or something?
No, it's like this
It's a good deli.
pastrami place.
Yeah, really
but
good
the
deli
line is
place.
long. My brother Nardo went to it.
If it's not a Vito's Hero in Hoboken, I don't want it.
we don't want it then.
So good.
Send
We
it back.
don't want it.
Right.
I bet
That's
Jameis
Peyton's
ends up
favorite
at Cats,
right
though.
Oh, Jameis for sure. I
He's
mean,
definitely
he won't
going to
be
Cats.
stealing anything from there, but he will definitely buy.
He's got enough bread.
He
He
will-
better not be stealing nothing.
No more
I mean,
complex for him. But in all seriousness, I think that tells you enough right now, guys, that I think they're going to wait till next year to figure out who their young quarterback is, because let's be honest too, those aren't the quarterbacks of the future for the New York Giants. So it's a 1-year deal for us.
They also stunk at the wrong time. A season ago, the number 3 pick would have given them Drake May. This year, the number 3 pick means they have to settle for Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. That is tough.
That's tough.
That's really, really tough
It's
for the
ju-
New York Giants.
And the reason it's tough is because you don't know what you're getting. Like, you don't know what, like, you get excitement from Tommy DeVito, but Russ, like, do you have the team to support what he's wanting to do off schedule?
No.
From my understanding, like, that was one of his issues that he had in Pittsburgh was, the unpredictability
Took a lot
of what
of
he was
sacks.
going to do. Yeah, and the sacks and the risks that he was going to take like that. As I'm like, I know that's exciting for the fans. As somebody has to block for that, or the wide receivers that might not be on the same page for him, like, you're wasting reps almost in a sense. Like, if you hit,
Totally.
like Patrick Mahomes does from time to time. Hey, look, we ain't going to say nothing. You do your thing, my brother.
So did they make the right decision choosing this pathway over drafting Shedeur Sanders?
I personally think they should probably draft Shedeur Sanders, really. And again, I go back to just saying, I think both quarterbacks didn't get a lot of love to start. Now we're seeing Cam get a lot of love, obviously. Not Shedeur as much still. I still feel Shedeur can be a good quarterback in the NFL. And I feel like if you're the Giants and you have an opportunity to take Shedeur Sanders, which it looks like now he could go to the Browns, if they decide to go that route.
I don't know anymore.
I mean, it's all kind of screwed up now. I honestly think go get your young quarterback if you can now. But I think having all those three quarterbacks there, it doesn't look like that's the direction that they're headed in. And so they must just not like Shedeur Sanders enough.
I think everybody know that coaching staff and GM are on the hot seat.
They are.
Like, they got to find something to stabilize themselves as a franchise. Like, right now, they're not considered a jokes, but they look like some. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's their biggest issues. They got to find something that they feel like is a very adultish to them, and that's Russell Wilson.
I feel like they made the right call, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, Shedeur can be successful in the right landing spot. I don't think that's the landing spot that gets the best out of Shedeur Sanders. I do think you'll see a lot of go balls from Russell Wilson and Malik Neighbors.
Love Malik Neighbors.
That is still one thing they can do, or he can do, and they can do up there in New York is just, hey, run the Malik Neighbors is down there somewhere play, and that'll at least get him like 1,200 yards and Russ 20 touchdowns.
No, for real.
Maybe not all to Malik Neighbors, but I mean, honestly, like, it's not the worst situation to walk into, but it's certainly still far from the best. Interesting. I mean, there's rumors of the Browns wanting to trade back. I think the Giants are going to go for Travis Hunter, and he is going to be the superstar that we see on First Take and on these national NFL shows all the time in New York.
It would fit there.
Yeah,
it would fit there.
You'd have Sauce Gardner on one side of New York football and Travis Hunter on the other.
Personality for days.
Jeez, that'd be
I think that's the direction they're going.
Yeah, but do you do that, or do you want the quarterback still, though, to like reset that franchise?
Depends on how much you believe in the quarterback. And I'm starting to really believe in Shedeur Sanders' slide. I don't know if he gets he's not going all the way out of the first round, in my opinion, but
I see
it'll be interesting.
I see as far as he goes back, it's probably Pittsburgh.
I was going to say, where is Pittsburgh picking? Because this is getting
21.
more weird.
They need a corner. They would take Genty if he failed.
I think Genty
is
that's the floor for Genty, but I think he's gone by Dallas.
I've seen a cornerback mock to them also. So like at 20, like you gotta, it's best of the rest almost at the point. Do you go get a D tackle? That's where you go get D tackles.
What if Aaron Rodgers does not decide to play? And everything is out there, still possible. What if he does not decide to play, does not go to Pittsburgh? What the hell do you guys do at quarterback?
Mason Rudolph.
So he's going to start.
Yeah, Mason has started in this league. Now, again, I've said this about the Steelers before, or Flacco. I've said this about the Steelers. Like, the success, finding the quarterback is the biggest issue. It's a matter of how competent is this guy going to be behind center, right? So the way I've projected this to go is if you start with Mason and Mason still isn't what you want him to be as a quarterback, here's what I've laid out. Good people. It could be very, very beneficial for the Titans, too. Steelers or Mike T finally have their first losing season.
Yep.
I wouldn't be shocked if they're sitting there. Yeah, I agree with you.
You mean
I wouldn't
Mike
be
T
shocked
coming here?
I mean, I'll say this. I think it's fragile with what they got going on. Like, winning games has become normal, right? And at some point, like, how long can you go 10 wins? And I know that's a feat a lot of teams would like, but they're itching for a championship.
What I was saying was I wouldn't be shocked if Tannehill landed there. If they're just sitting with Rudolph.
They're talking about Tanny in Minnesota, maybe.
Yeah. I think if on the off chance that Rodgers goes to Minnesota, I think that is the situation that would get Ryan Tannehill to play again.
Sure.
Is go be in Pittsburgh and battle with Mason Rudolph. And you've got two Titans legends trying to be the starting quarterback.
With Arthur Smith.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm saying.
Tanny.
So anyway, if I'm Ryan, that's where I want to go. But we'll see if he is wanted by Pittsburgh. Coming up, I will give 4 different Lance Zierlein NFL.com draft scouting reports on 4 quarterbacks. One of them is Cam Ward. All of them have been drafted, including Cam, because let's be honest, he's coming here, in the top 10 over the last 10 years. We'll try to see if we can guess who is who and see if we can find where in the world is Cam Ward next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your water heater not heating? Maybe your sink is leaking. That drain is clogged. Look, we've all got that list, right? Things around the house that aren't working the way that they are supposed to. Hey, I'm here to tell you, available 24/7, 365. Our expert friends at Lead Company have you covered. They got all your plumbing needs handled. And right now, you can enjoy $30 off your next plumbing visit. Just contact Lead Company today at 615-567-1000 or head online. Go to leadcompany.com for an appointment to take care of your home's plumbing from top to bottom. Whether it's that water heater, it's that drain that's clogged up in that one bathroom, the kitchen sink, they're going to take care of it for you. And they're going to do it quickly, efficiently, because they got experience of doing things the right way. Over 80 years of experience. Lead Company's been trusted since 1944 here in Middle Tennessee. So get $30 off your next plumbing visit at leadcompany.com. That's 615-567-1000. Lead Company, all you need.
Cam Ward is coming to town. Cam Ward is coming to town. Cameron Ward is coming to town.
The vocal stylings of Ramon Foster bringing us back on RKW brewed by Scooter's Coffee. He has given up, Ramon.
That hits, man. That should be a Grammy.
I'm telling you,
nominee.
an original score is what they were called.
If we put it behind a guitar, you could win Best Country Album.
There you go, like everybody else.
Sign me up, baby. Sign me up.
Nowadays.
Absolutely love it.
So it is time for the game show that is sweeping the nation. Where in the world is Cam Ward? So here's what we're going to do. I have from Lance Zierlein of NFL.com 4 different NFL draft profiles. He does this every year for not just quarterbacks, but for every player, every draft prospect. On grades, and that's athleticism grade, all these different things. I'm going to narrow this down. So what I'm going to give you guys is the full player overview, what executives are saying about the player, and their prospect grade, in addition to height and weight. That's all I'm going to give you.
Okay.
Now, a little bit of dealer's choice here. I have 4 quarterbacks. One of them is Cam Ward. We're going to guess who is who. Mm-hmm. I am inclined to not tell you who the other 3 are and just see if you can guess them. Because over the last 10 years, these are all top 10 overall picks. Ooh, wow. So there's not a ton to choose from, but also you've got some variety. I think this would be too easy if I gave you the names.
Okay.
But
so
if you want the names, I'm willing to be persuaded. Dealer's choice.
Let's try to work.
Do you believe in your skills enough to just pick them out of a lineup?
I do. I believe in my skills.
Okay
it's better that way.
Okay.
It's better that way.
So
yeah.
I want you to close
I do have a list of quarterbacks drafted in the last. Do you want my cheat sheet? I'll send it to you.
I know I've got a list.
You
of
got a list of
quarterbacks,
quarterbacks?
I had to visually be able to see what
here.
I was looking at.
First and foremost, on the honor system, close the YouTube chat. We're closing the F&M Bank chat because they're going to give you hints or they're going to know based on height and weight. That's Will Levis. Will Levis not one of these 4, don't worry.
Chat is closed.
All right.
Yep, no chat on mine either.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you player A, B, C, or D. If you need to look and read back any of these, they are on our Google Doc of show notes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you have the written version as well with player A, B, C, or D. What we're going to do is when I give you the scouting report, I want you to write down, or after all this, write down who it is, and then we'll go through who you think each one is. Again, 3 of these are quarterbacks currently in the league. One of them is Cam Ward. I will allow some time to think, some time to process. Here we go.
All right, let's go.
Player A is 6'2", 225, coming out of college. His prospect grade from Lance Zierlein is a 6.3, which says will eventually be a plus starter. Player A is a big, confident quarterback who brings a variety of physical tools to the party, but he's developed some bad habits and doesn't have a very repeatable process as a passer. His ability to improvise and extend plays can lead to big plays for his offense, but he will have to prove he can operate with better anticipation and be willing to take what the defense gives him in order to win from the pocket. He'll be a work in progress, but he's a high ceiling, low floor prospect. An NFC executive says of this quarterback, great arm, big manhood. We'll censor that one a little bit.
Oh,
and he's mobile.
Is that a physical?
He is going to drive his head coach crazy for the first couple of years, and there's no getting around that.
Oh.
If it clicks for him and he's coachable, I think he could become a special quarterback.
I got this one.
Okay.
I got this one for sure.
Without giving away
like
who you
this
think it
one.
is, are you confident on who
I'm
this
confident
is?
on
I'm
this
confident
one.
on that one.
Okay.
The last part maybe sold me the most.
I like that one.
Player B is 6'2", 219, has been given a 6.39 grade by Lance Zierlein, which means will eventually be a plus starter.
Similar thing.
Gunslinger with good size, a big arm, and the mobility to help out his offensive line. He can read the full field and operates with average decision-making and processing quickness. He rips sidearm rockets to fit into tight windows at all 3 levels, but his delivery and mechanics cause inconsistencies with placement and accuracy. He is fairly consistent regardless of the coverage scheme he sees, but figuring out disguised coverage on the pro level will take time, and it's not a given that he will develop.
Okay.
He looks to strike it rich with aggressive vertical throws. For better efficiency, he needs to learn to mine for gold for combo reads and rhythm throws. While he has the ability to move the sticks with his legs, he's more of a pocket passer than dual threat, Pocket mobility helps him extend and make plays out of structure, but the longer he's off schedule, the spottier his decision-making can get. With a patient plan, a nurturing offensive coordinator who can accentuate his physical tools while regulating the feast or famine elements of his play, he could become a good NFL starter inside of his first contract. An NFC executive says he's got a live arm and makes plays. I think he can be dialed back a little to make him more efficient.
Okay. God, those first two kind of
This
sound
sucks.
similar.
Yeah, it
Don't they? I'm like, wait a second.
Oh,
Now that one
just
sounds
wait.
like that one.
Oh, just wait. You haven't heard anything yet.
the heck?
It's about to get harder.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so that's player B.
I got my name down.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, if you're just now joining us, I'm giving 4 NFL.com Lance Zierlein scouting reports.
funny.
3 of these are current NFL quarterbacks. 1 of them is Cam Ward.
I'd love to see what the chat is saying right now.
I know,
on
me
these
too.
guys.
I'm like
you
so
can't-
tempted.
you can't do it.
I'm done.
Player C is 6'2", 214. 6.5 prospect grade, which is boom or bust potential.
Ooh.
Ascending quarterback prospect who possesses the swagger and arm talent to create explosive plays inside and outside the pocket. Gunslinger mentality and improvised release points are clearly patterned off of one of his favorite players, Aaron Rodgers. However, his play is a little more reminiscent of a blend between Jake Plummer and Johnny Manziel coming out of college. As with Manziel, too much of his work comes off schedule. It's a common word between all 3 of these, due to inconsistent anticipation and a desire to hit the big play. Both like Manziel at A&M and Plummer, he's mobile with the ability to extend plays and hit the chunk play. His tape over one of his seasons shows troubling decision-making. So NFL teams will need to balance his final 2 years of production in the evaluation process. He's put in a lot of work to get to this point and has the potential to become a good pro. However, he might need to play with a more disciplined approach to reach his ceiling. One executive says this quarterback class is so overrated, but I think he is going to end up being one of the good ones out of this draft.
Ooh.
I hate
That kind of takes it away from one okay.
I almost took out the last blurb, but I kept it in there.
I'm still lost.
I annotated a
similar.
couple things that made it a dead giveaway, but
Okay.
anyway. Player D. This one does not have a blurb from an executive for whatever reason on his profile. I don't know why. Player D is 6'1", 214, 6'7", grade, day 1 starter. His play is highlighted by rare escapability with the talent to exploit defenses once the play breaks down. He's not tall, but he's well built with an arm to challenge defenses across the field. He can be a high-impact playmaker on the go or an effective pocket passer when he allows himself to trust his eyes on second and third reads. He can improve his accuracy and placement on intermediate and deep throws, but he's unlikely to be known for pinpoint accuracy. It is admirable that he looks to keep his eyes up and makes throws outside the pocket, but he'll make things easier on himself early in his pro career by becoming a more decisive scrambler to move the sticks and carry on to the next set of downs. He is tremendously talented, but often bites off too much responsibility and plays off schedule. He has a good chance to hit new heights with a surrounding cast he trusts, but greater self-discipline and a well-structured offense might be needed to help him become a quarterback who can elevate a franchise to championship contention. That is quarterback D.
Okay. And you said the grade is, can I look at, I was going to look at the
6'7",
grades.
day 1 starter
Oh.
for that one. So you have quarterback A, quarterback B, quarterback C, and D. I will give you time to think about this for just a moment. Which one of this was easiest for you without giving away who you're picking for what?
3 was, I feel like, for me.
Two, because I know I've done all the research on 2 in terms of full extensive.
Okay.
I got
I feel like everything you said, I've seen it on multiple descriptions of him.
Fair enough. Which one was the hardest?
4, the last one was.
Last one was the hardest?
Last
Okay.
was the hardest
Yeah,
for me.
except for the day 1 starter thing.
But I feel like in that era, it might have been the conversation with him, I feel like. with the person I pick. I'm not sure if it was correct because I ain't followed the profiles that deep back then. But this is interesting. I thought one was tricky.
All right. Well, let's go with our guesses.
I almost flipped.
Player A,
1 and 3.
given a 6.3 grade of will eventually be a plus starter. Improvise and extend plays can lead to big plays for his offense, but he will have to prove he can operate with better anticipation. Who is player A?
I said Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. Okay.
I say Patrick Mahomes.
Justin, do you have a guess on
Josh
this?
Allen.
Player A
Josh Allen.
is Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Is it really?
Player A is Patrick Mahomes.
I almost put Josh Allen too on that one, except for.
Well, he's 6'2".
That's exactly.
I shouldn't have given height away.
I know.
I know.
Height
I could have
That's
made
the
this.
thing.
I could have made this
Yeah.
harder, but again, I did not tell you who you were picking from, so that was the way I made it a little bit easier on you. Was giving
Okay.
height away.
So Patrick, best attributes on that one was again? My bad. I got it in
So
front
an
of me. I got it in front of
NFC
me.
executive said about Patrick Mahomes coming out of the draft, he's got a great arm, big cojones,
Yes,
and he's
yep.
mobile.
That's the end.
He is going to drive his head coach crazy for the first couple of years, and there's no getting around that. If it clicks for him and he's coachable, I think he could become a special quarterback.
The end is what got me on that one.
The drive his head coach crazy threw me for a loop. I'm ain't gonna lie to you, because looking at how they describe this is not what I felt like Patrick did in that first year. All he did was kill every team in front of him, us primarily.
Lindsay on
Well, and
YouTube
he
says,
sat for
my
a year.
bracket's blown already
There it is.
on these 4 quarterbacks. Josh Allen, not one of these 4, by the way.
Yeah, too
Again,
tall.
None of these
Yeah.
guys are 6'5".
I
So
almost,
that was a dead
did him
giveaway.
at the
This-
last, but then I was like, he's
Not
not
big Josh
6.
Allen.
Yeah.
He's not 6'2".
And I had to X off Herbert too.
Yep, because he's taller than all these guys.
Player B will eventually be plus starter, 6'2", 219, gunslinger with good size, big arm. I could have made this one harder. Who do you think player B is?
This is Cam.
It's Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. I knew I gave it away when I said sidearm.
Yeah.
Sidearm, I was like,
Sidearm
boom.
gave it away.
Yeah.
I actually took out another part of it because it said has a delivery like a shortstop. Because that's the dead
that's a
giveaway. Because
giveaway.
everyone keeps talking about that.
Yeah.
That's on me for making that one too.
Yeah, you
easy.
could have
But I
doctored
think
that
Kayla could have picked him out of a
Out of a
lineup.
lineup.
Out of 100
Right.
quarterbacks because you're
Yeah,
the Cam Ward person.
yeah.
So.
I know. I knew that one.
Player C. This is the one I'm really curious. C and D, I feel like, are the hardest two for y'all to get. Who do you think player C is? Kayla, you go first on this one. Who'd you write down?
Zach Wilson.
I wrote down Zach Wilson too.
You did?
You're both right. Zach Wilson. It is stunning to me how similar Zach Wilson,
Yes.
Patrick, all 4 of these guys have very similar scouting reports coming out of
Yes.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Wilson had, and I think the Johnny Manziel comparison gives that one away.
And actually, the plumber. Like, I know not a ton of people watched Jake Plummer, but
think so.
yeah,
I think they did.
I think that
Yeah.
those two
Carolina
compare.
Panthers. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a Manziel link that got me.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Zach Wilson.
Zach
on that.
Wilson is player C. I saw a lot of people thinking that was Cam Ward.
But even
In the chat.
they thought it was Cam Ward.
Ward.
That is so disrespectful on me saying Kenny Pickett was Patrick Mahomes.
That's
so that is
no,
that's
well.
bad.
I partly put Cam Ward and Zach Wilson back to back to prove that I'm not insane for saying that they have some similar skill sets because they do. Coming out, that mean again, you can make there are differentiating factors of how much football they played, completion
Right.
percentage, all these things. But in terms of raw prospects, strengths and weaknesses, there are a lot of similarities.
And it's wild,
On
like
these
boom
profiles.
or bust with Zach Wilson.
And he was bust.
You know, and he's he's
Yeah, he
been
was. Well,
bust.
The personnel executive was right on that class too.
The class,
Yeah, the quarter
Saying the
quarterback.
class is overrated, but
Absolutely.
he'll be one of the good ones.
absolutely.
And player D, Ramon, who do you think this one is?
Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky, player D. Okay.
Day one starter, I feel like with all the descriptions of putting him in the right place, Caleb Williams.
It is Caleb Williams.
Is Caleb? Ah.
I think the two
And the height.
It's ironic for Caleb, but the two comparisons that are most similar are the Caleb Williams description and the Cam Ward description. They are essentially described as the exact same player
Yep.
in terms of football ability and what they are good at on the football field.
Remember I told you my buddy who covers them over on the West Coast, he said that Cam Ward was like a poor man's Caleb Williams. I read
They
that
said that on
description.
NFL Network.
I read
Um,
that description.
I think
the
Daniel
other day.
Bucky Brooks, I think, might have been the one that said
Yeah.
that. Someone on NFL Network said that during his pro day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fascinating. Caleb Williams. Wow, good.
So there you go.
That was good.
I know we should do more drills like that. That's fun.
That was good. Well, not that you need to work a little bit more, but look, if you got more of those games,
Test my
if
brains.
you roll in the big TV, you will inside the classroom. We're ready to go.
There you go. So that is the blind quarterback resumes. I feel like I made this too easy. It's okay.
Maybe next time take out some of the like personnel executive.
I think it's
quotes.
interesting though. I mean, the whole point of it isn't for me to beat you.
I know.
The point of it is for comparing how similar these guys are. And I think they're all four really similar.
They're really
coming out of the draft.
That's the whole thing. You could have kind of shuffled them about and still made a point for them being that guy.
Yeah.
Which is even the height and weight. You know?
Yeah, no,
that was
that's
also
wild
part of the
too.
point.
I didn't even really pay attention to the 6'1" component of it. That would have been Bryce Young or
6'1"
Caleb.
and 6'2".
Yeah. It's Caleb. Bryce Young. I have to look him up in a second.
I think he was shorter than
What was he,
6'2".
190?
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be like 5'10" is
He's
what it
small.
was. Yeah, slight is what Savage called him.
Bryce Young was his Lance Zierlein profile.
Okay.
Said that he was 5'10", 204. Yeah, that would have been a giveaway if I told you. I mean, literally, he was behind us when I was with 3HL at that Atlanta SEC Media Days. He was standing right behind us. We're like, oh, sorry, bro. That's Bryce Young.
That's Bryce Young.
That's how I feel about
Like,
Dylan.
you think he's just a scrawny journalist.
Dylan Gabriel's the same way, but he's thicker. But like Dylan
Gabriel's
Gabriel's
short.
thicker.
small. Yeah, he's small.
I feel like I could throw Bryce Young about as far as he could throw a football.
No, for real.
And I'm not very strong. His comparison with Drew Brees, too, and slightly built with measurables that fall below the standard. That would have given us.
Yeah, right.
Bryce
Oh,
Young.
yeah.
There is one thing I think you take away from this. Again, 4 blind resumes of NFL.com draft profiles for quarterbacks. One big takeaway on what makes all these guys similar. Next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, they have been around here since 1990, are family owned and operated. Jimmy Hiller, yes, the last name relates, right? Well, he was recently named amongst the most admired CEOs, and it's because how he truly cares for his team and his clients, man. Hiller takes care of the customer on every job, every single time, and they just simply stand behind their work. So much so, the slogan is, happy you'll bill, the service is free. If a customer isn't pleased with the work performed, they will make it right. They also offer you true transparency pricing, which means Hiller will line out every part of the job up front so homeowners can easily understand what they're paying for and why. There'll be no hidden fees, no added costs, no surprises when you get your bill. And I'm also not telling you about Hiller just so you can use them. I also use Hiller too. I've used them for heating, electrical, numerous things around my home, man. So if you want to go to a reliable company or just learn more about them, simply visit happyhiller.com.
RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone as we wrap up hour 2 on Twitter at Ramon Kayla Will, where you see a picture of Ron Slade checking out Scooter's Coffee this morning.
He
is hashtagged it with hashtag hot chocolate connoisseur. Says, I like to scoot on around after I ordered it. That is the best part. When you order at Scooter's Coffee,
yes.
Like, all right, scoot on around.
I know. Man, it's taken over the world. It's a phenomenon.
Yes,
Scooter's
sir.
Coffee
yes,
is.
Will already pinpointed what we going to be and how close one is on
Friday at Dickens Turf Landscape Supply in Mount Juliet. We are right down the road.
And I'm going to have some food with
from that North Mount Juliet Road location there. They're quick, they're friendly, and it's tasty.
Yeah, it is.
So we just did I think a really good conversation about 4 blind resumes of quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams, Zach Wilson compared to Cam Ward. Caleb went 4 for 4 and guessed all of them. And there's one thing that I think I take away from this. Mm-hmm. Coaching matters.
Yep.
Coaching matters. How many of these profiles, both for players who worked and didn't work, come with the caveat of, well, if they get the right coach, then they could make it. Do we trust Brian Callahan as the right coach to develop Cam Ward? Because I don't know if I do, to be honest with you.
I still have faith that he can develop a quarterback. I think that he knew what he was getting himself into. To be fair, he took this job knowing that Will Levis was the quarterback. Right. But that whole conversation he had with Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports still haunts me in a way when it came to what do you look for in a quarterback, and it was the nervous system comment. I just felt like that was so unique in terms of that's the first thing that you're going to say, and it immediately made me think like Will Levis, and I like the young man as a person, but I think he's a little bit in the brain, like there's a lot going on there. And I think you can only do so much as a coach when your nervous system as a quarterback is all over the place. And I don't think that is at all what Cam Ward is in terms of his nervous system. I do believe he can help develop a quarterback still.
You do. See, it's fascinating. Like, the reason ain't the only reason, but sometimes when you have a coach in place like Mike Vrabel and he gets let go, you got to go in the opposite direction.
You overcorrect. Tennessee went from Jeremy Pruitt to Josh Heupel.
I'm not saying Coach Brian. Yes, and that's why I was about to head to.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work.
And that's what I wanted to say. Like, but the issue that Callahan had, let's just go here for a second, man. Like, Josh Heupel came into Tennessee and went 7-6. Then he went 11-2. Like, incremental jumps were made, right? And that's where it's yet to be seen what Coach Brian Callahan is going to do with Caleb. I mean, I said with Caleb. With Cam Ward.
Caleb's about to throw something at you. Make that mistake again.
No.
With Cam Ward, because this team is so incomplete. It almost feels like what the Titans have somewhat did this year is what the Patriots did last year to continue building on. With that being said, my answer, Will, is probably not.
It's just a big question mark. I think even if you believe in Brian Callahan,
and I do.
It's a massive question mark on whether or not he's the right guy to develop Cam Ward. I would love to know the alternate history if Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Jets and Zach Wilson was drafted by Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
No, for real.
Like, how many quarterbacks? I would love to know the alternate histories. Like, what timelines look like if Andy Reid gets his hands on failed QBs around the NFL, or if the Jets or Giants or Browns get their hands on successful quarterbacks around the league.
It's a really fair point.
It is, which has led to my whole trade back scenario, and that would be minus the quarterback, though. It's like Andy Reid had that team set and ready to go for Patrick Mahomes at that time, right? Andy already being known as a good play caller, right? You knew it was there. We still don't know if Brian Callahan is a good play caller.
That's fair.
It's part of
a
it.
huge part.
I do think Andy Reid, he had this like damaged goods reputation, though, at that point.
He did.
People viewed Andy Reid then the way we just viewed Doug Peterson in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. Like, Andy Reid was the guy that couldn't win the big one, that would get you to 10 wins, but nothing more. And he was paired with Patrick Mahomes, and he became what we know him now as. So there is a point to be made that, Patrick Mahomes also helped Andy Reid become Andy Reid. It's not all just Andy turned Patrick into a stud.
Bill and Brady.
But I do think situation matters, and I think that's what makes this a really interesting conversation this offseason is this the right situation where Cam Ward is successful?
I think, and real quick, I think that, as much as we say Callahan's on a short lease, which he is, I think, I do believe Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker also have to somewhat believe in him, too, if they're drafting Cam Ward at this point this next year, right? Because they have to believe he can help develop this young man, maybe clean up some of those things.
Though.
But just let me finish real quick, because I feel that last year, when you looked at Callahan's situation, let's all be honest, it was kind of crappy. I mean, everything was new. Staff is new. First-time play caller, quarterback that you didn't choose, offensive line. Right side stanky. There's a lot of things that came into play that was new for Callahan. I just feel like in this year 2, a lot will be cleaned up just because he's going to feel more comfortable in what he's doing as a play caller with an upgraded offensive line and with a quarterback that, by all means, he at least had part of a decision in making when it comes to who the quarterback was.
I don't think they have to believe in Callahan. That's what I was going to say. I don't think them drafting Cam Ward has to show that there's belief that he can coach him up. And it's for this reason. They can't fire Callahan right now. Like, he's the coach in place to go get the coach that they want later. Essentially is how I feel about this situation with Cam Ward. Like, him doing his job, we asked that question last week. I feel like a week before. Does it matter if Brian Callahan gets fired? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people said no. They don't care. They want the quarterback. And that's the reason I'm saying, like, him being here as the coach for Cam Ward, like, honestly, history shows it doesn't matter.
Didn't matter for New England.
Didn't matter for Chicago. Didn't matter for Denver.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll say this. The only one that has survived drafting had one of my sources tell me, when a head coach drafts his quarterback in year 2, and he had a bad season, as a high percentage that coach also gets fired. So it don't matter.
The only one that's really survived that is Kyle Shanahan because they went and found Brock Purdy.
Sean Payton. So far.
Sean Payton?
Yeah.
And Bo Nix has worked, though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's worked for him. He got rid of Russ.
Right. I mean, the only coach that's survived drafting a bad quarterback and keeping his job is Kyle Shanahan.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Because they drafted Trey Lance. It was a failure, but they also got Brock Purdy.
What was his records also as far as, like, his first few years in I can look that up right quick, too. So, because, again, the wins and losses. Like, last year we were speaking about, like, the operation of not just his play calling as far as Callahan is concerned, but just the way the team looked. Like, last year the team looked unprepared in some situations, right?
In 2021, year 1 after they drafted Trey Lance, the Niners were 10-7.
There it is.
He didn't contribute to that at all, though. That's the point, is that if you fail on a draft pick, you're getting fired unless you find somebody else that just surprises you and hits, essentially. So
he was kind of in a lose-lose situation, whether or not they brought in a veteran, whether or not they drafted a quarterback, Callahan, no matter what, he's got to show that he can coach in the NFL this year. And I'm not saying they got to go to the playoffs, but you have to show that you're able to win more games, that you're able to get this quarterback that's probably going to start day 1 in Cam Ward. You've got to have him develop over the season. Yeah, there's a lot on his shoulder.
So is he on the hot seat or not, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah, I've always said he's on the hot seat. I think he's always been on the hot seat. I just think he has a better opportunity to win this next year. Not saying he's going to win 8-9 games, but more than 3.
Question on YouTube says, why do you not have faith Callahan can develop him? Because he's an offensive coach who coached an offense that stinks last year. They went 3-14. He's ultimately responsible for that, regardless of the ingredients he was given. He cooked a pretty bad meal. Is what it is. This is the NFL, not for long. 615-737-1045. It's harsh, but it's the reality of where this team is at the moment. Reports of March Madness's demise, greatly exaggerated. I'll tell you why next.
We all love living in Nashville, and there's a lot of things going on. So much so that you might get overwhelmed. It's a growing city, but you still want to work with people that you can trust, including a real estate agent you can trust. That's why you need to check out my friend Bernie Gallerani. Bernie Gallerani has years of experience. He's going to know the neighborhoods around town and care about your buying or selling needs. In fact, Bernie guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he's just going to buy it from you. Selling a home, it can be stressful, especially when the market is really slow. But Elizabeth found out firsthand what happens when you have the right real estate agent on your side. After months of having listed her fiance's condo with no results, it sold at full price in just 5 days when Bernie Gallerani Real Estate took it over. So when it was time to sell her home, Elizabeth, she knew exactly who to call. Bernie is the only real estate agent in Nashville recommended by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank, and the only agent I would trust to sell my home. All you got to do, give him a call on his cell phone, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644, or go to BernieGallerani.com.
It is 8:02 for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Boulding. Four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stefon Diggs of the New England Patriots reached an agreement Tuesday on a 3-year, $69 million deal that includes $26 million guaranteed. The 31-year-old suffered a season-ending torn ACL in Week 8 with Houston. When he got hurt, he was playing well, ranked 7th in the league in catches, and was second on the Texans with 496 receiving yards. The New York Giants are adding a quarterback. Again, 10-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson is signing a 1-year, $10.5 million deal with the team. He joins a quarterback room that already includes Jameis Winston, who is newly signed, and Tommy DeVito. Last season in Pittsburgh, Wilson started 11 games, finishing with 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. The Nashville Predators last night get a win, beating the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 on the road. Luke Evangelista scored twice, and UC Saros secured career win number 200 with his 34 saves. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. March Madness is very much not dead. In fact, it might be thriving better than it ever has been. RKW second half of the show is brewed by Scooters Coffee. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Television ratings are in, guys, and they are terrific for the NCAA tournament. Through the first 2 rounds, the NCAA tournament is averaging 9.4 million viewers per game across CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV. It is the highest average audience through the round of 32 since 1993, according to Nielsen ratings.
Dang!
So, are you surprised that March Madness ratings are better considering the lack of upsets and Cinderellas we have so far?
No, absolutely not. This is where a lot of people start to watch March Madness too. And I think also with the accessibility of having it available at your phone, your iPad, tablet, whatever it is that you have has led to this. And just too, I mean, the SEC and Big Ten playing a huge part of it too. Like, I think that plays a significant part into how they're doing it with the play-ins. They were interesting. Again, it's the Blue Bloods again. Those are the people that also bring in the big conferences, bring in more viewers. Like, we can root for the Cinderella all we want to, but this is also it may be skewed, just to be completely honest with you, because of the amount of streaming that people can do on their devices. So I know we had my phone, TV, and the TV outside rolling. I'm not sure how they calculate that how they calculate the ratings behind it, but that's 3 in one household right there too if they're going per.
And that has at least been the case for the last 10 years or so.
Okay, it has been the case. Well, if that's the case, man, this is when everybody starts to take it very serious at this point.
Yeah, I mean, from somebody, I've always made it clear, I do like the Cinderellas. Don't take anything away from the fact that I think that they need to be a part of the tournament at some point. I think it does make it fun when they reach the Sweet 16, but numbers clearly show, like this first weekend, you didn't have any Cinderellas really make it to the round of Sweet 16. Arkansas is the only double-digit team, so numbers show that people like the Blue Bloods. Numbers show that, the SEC fan base is also tuning into these basketball teams, these programs, maybe, hopefully, one of them getting a championship this year to represent the SEC. So I think that no matter what anybody says, it's going to not affect the ratings, not having one of these Cinderella programs or whatever it might be, lower seeds, make it super far. So, yeah.
It's also, too, this is the office spaces and stuff like that do it. Like, they've drummed up the March Madness in general.
It's everywhere you go.
They've drummed up the March Madness in general. It's like people that work in offices, and that's the sports side of it, too. And the big networks, too, the advertising of it plays a huge part in it.
So the one thing that has changed to make it bigger, Nielsen began tabulating out-of-home viewership in bars and restaurants in 2020 into ratings. So in 2020, you saw ratings of a lot of different sporting events go up. because they count bars and restaurants towards ratings now.
Makes sense.
So that's one big reason why it is up. Any guesses on what the most watched game has been so far?
The most watched game
With 15.3 million viewers.
Absolutely. It was Arkansas St. John's.
No, not that one.
I'm just looking real quick at the games. How about, gosh, I don't know. Florida, UConn?
Kentucky, Illinois. Most watched game in the
Really?
tournament. It's Kentucky and Illinois.
Kentucky
Wow.
really does rule with that. Like,
It's the Alabama of basketball.
Wild.
Kentucky.
Yeah, they rule with that. I did not have that on my bingo card, especially with Illinois being attached to it, but they are backyard to each other, too.
Well, it's just the two big basketball brands.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I wouldn't have guessed that one.
True TV also had its most watched first four on record with 7.4 million gross viewers. Hello, North Carolina. They can certainly impact that. So Sweet 16 beginning tomorrow night with 4 games, headlined by a couple of 1 versus 4 matchups. Of course, that's Maryland and Florida, the Crab 5 against the Gators. A lot of offense expected in that game. And then Arizona Duke at 8:39 tomorrow.
Can't wait for
that one will do a big number considering it's 2 legit blue blood fan bases and the blue blood fan base in Duke.
That's going to be really fun to watch.
One will just be will Duke run with this one though? Like I know they play physical, they had a good squad and everything too. I just view especially with Arizona having Tobe Awaka, like their physicality and rim protecting that he'll give. Is Cooper like flag on the one drive?
He's got to stay out of foul trouble.
That's what
Tobe Awaka does. Yeah, 100%. That's the question.
That's the point.
He is still the same. Has the same weaknesses he did at Tennessee. He's great at rebounding. He's good at defending. It's hard for him to stay on the floor because he just fouls so much.
Are you just as a coach? I'll be honest with you. When we're talking about making it to the Elite Eight, if Cooper Flag is trying to get close, Tobe, bro, you gonna foul out anyway.
I know.
Don't hurt
Like
him.
it was against Zach Edey last year.
Don't do like the kid did in the state championship game. Don't fling him through the air.
In the Tennessee State Championship in the tournament last week.
That sucks. I don't even want to bring a highlight to that. But that kid was out of pocket.
Video of a guy in a breakaway layup who got like linebacker tackled under the basket last week in Murfreesboro. Pretty crazy stuff, actually.
I hadn't heard anything else from it, but if that's my kid, well, we pressing charges. I'm gonna be completely honest with you on that one.
Yeah, that's wild.
That was wild. You
When I
can't.
saw that video,
That's
I
a
was like,
hazard
what?
right there. You can't do that, man. That's how you can't be in the game. But if I'm Tobe Awaka and Arizona Wildcats, like Cooper Flag not in here, I'm treating them like the old '90s Knicks, Bulls, Detroit Pistons. Y'all will not be flying around the rim under my watch if I was Tobe Awaka in Arizona.
Yeah, Tommy Lloyd, like, you know, he came from Gonzaga. He was assistant under Mark Few. Like, he's expected to get results there. In Arizona, you know, they don't wait for too long for results to start happening. Like, he at some point has to get this team further than the Sweet 16. Like, this is expected in that basketball is everything down there, right? And so I think this is a chance to have a good game. Like, I'm not going to expect them to beat them, but at some point, I think Arizona's got to show they can do it.
It's Caleb Love's last stand.
Yeah.
Guy knows how to beat Duke.
Yeah.
He'll get one more chance. He did it in North Carolina.
Be interesting.
Let's go to Jerry on the phones up next. Good morning, Jerry.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to say something. Will, I wasn't sure if your numbers were national or local or
National.
a mix of both.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's what's happening, and this is what everybody was trying to figure out why these conferences, SEC and Big Ten, are scrambling to expand. It's the expansion of the major markets. There was a time, obviously, UCLA basketball has always been important, but it's never been more important now that it's part of the Big Ten. So when you take a UCLA and you put them inside the Big Ten conference, you already have this rabid fan base of the Big Ten. Now you add a major market like LA, your national numbers are going to spike. Also, why does the Illinois and Kentucky game rate as the highest? You got SEC versus Big Ten. It doesn't get any better. That's why the Big Ten and SEC continues to meet secretly, because they know they're driving these numbers up. These numbers you just reported just got them better contracts and more money. And with NIL and with the sharing of revenue, it has to happen or you won't be able to sustain that model.
Jared, real quick, are you a fan of two big conferences from your perspective? Like, we cover it, so it's different from us. On your side, does it matter that the Big Ten and SEC are doing this?
This is what I understand. I understand that everything changes. So what I really believe is that the way things are changing and the way revenue is going to have to be shared with athletes, it's inevitable that you're going to have two major conferences, similar to the NFL, AFC, NFC kind of deal. So I'm okay with the SEC and a Big Ten. I think they might have to expand just a little bit more to 20 teams each. And then you have a second tier of college football and basketball, because that's how the money's going to be split. If you're not a top 40 program, you're not going to be able to play in this game of splitting the revenue because you can't afford to. Your ticket sales are not what they are of a Big Ten and an SEC if you are an ACC or whatever other conference you might be a part of.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the call.
I feel like this was like
Makes
a
good
commissioner
points.
on the phone.
That's the reason I asked.
Commissioner
I felt like he
Jerry.
is at some point.
I know.
He spoke in a well-known way right there. I was just interested in the consumer word about SEC and Big Ten.
Yeah, I really think people are overreacting to all of it. I don't think NIL and transfer portal are going to do away with upsets. It only takes one player to change a basketball team and spark an upset. It takes one guy to stay at a mid-major or stay close to home or leave a Power 4 and go to a mid-major and spark a run. Like, March is just such a fickle sport, or fickle time in the sport, that I don't think we've seen the end of Cinderellas, but if we have, I think it's better for the consumer, television ratings-wise, no doubt. It's interesting. 615-737-1045. Adam Schefter had a really interesting tweet about the Titans yesterday. What does it mean? We'll give you our take next.
It is Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation. And right now, you need relief from high heating costs this winter. We're about to transition over to the cool side of things, man. But Window Nation has their affordable, high-quality, energy-efficient windows that will keep your heat or cold air inside, lower your monthly bills, and keep your home comfortable year-round. Right now, Kayla, I'm going to tell you, you get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy, plus 0 down and no payments or interest for 2 full years.
That is right. This is a long-term solution that is going to save you money. And look, everybody wants that right now. One of their valued customers, Albert, says great value, great product, and great customer service, highly recommended. And that's because, well, Window Nation has over 20,000 5-star reviews. And right now, you can get 2 windows free for every 2 you buy. So all you got to do to schedule a fast free estimate now is call 866-90-NATION or go online to windownation.com.
This time of the year between the NFL Combine, the NFL Draft, it's cryptic tweet season on RKW, brewed by Scooters Coffee, 104.5 The Zone. Grab a cup of Scooters Coffee at their locations at White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. So Adam Schefter gets into the party yesterday about the number one overall pick. And we're over here putting up streamers. Welcome, Cam. We're ordering jerseys. The Oilers blue, the white, the navy. Which one are we going to get, right? I'm sure DH Gate already has some options for Cam Ward of the Titans.
What's DH Gate?
I love DH Gate.
Hit my DM if you're unfamiliar. Adam Schefter says yesterday, sources tell ESPN, Tennessee will hold an additional private workout with potential number one overall pick, Cam Ward. Okay, we knew that. The Titans have become increasingly impressed with Ward, and while they are expected to listen to offers for the number one overall pick, it now would take an even stronger package to acquire the draft's top selection. What does this mean? Why would they just say they're drafting him at this point?
I think it's never done till it's done, first and foremost. I've been saying that.
A lot of times it is.
I feel like with
Joe
the
Burrow.
Titans, though, we've had this conversation so many times with this new front office. They just seem to be close to the vest on everything they want to do. And if there were some reason that maybe the Giants just felt like, you know what, screw it. We're just going to give you this many picks and that should do it. And I'm not saying that would ever happen, but what do they have to lose, playing it close to the vest too? I mean, they don't really have anything to lose either. So I just think it's one of those things that I'm pretty sure they're picking Cam Ward, but maybe they can play this down to the wire, and worst comes to worst, they get the Giants coming up or one of these other teams coming up and saying, you know what, we actually do want to give you a haul. That's the worst case scenario.
Why do you do that? Somebody told them to. I still don't think there is a scenario where that happens moving forward right now. I feel like the Giants expose themselves. The Titans in a position where they also have to make these types of moves. The reason you do that is because another point of it is the league is a very unpredictable business. Like, this is a business tweet, I feel like, from Adam Schefter. Again, you got to ask yourself, a guy like him, he don't get these types of breaks all the time unless somebody in, what's the address up there? 245 Park Avenue in New York is handing him stuff. Really, or in Connecticut. I think that's the address.
Oh, that's impressive.
Ask me how I know. I think it's some 45 Park Avenue, New York. Yeah, either way. But what I'm saying is this. It's better business if Adam Schefter tweets out stuff like this. It's better for draft night if you tweet out stuff like this. Like, here's the other thing behind it.
You're close. 245 Page Avenue.
No, it's Park.
Apple tells me it's Page.
Apple's lying.
Page.
Okay.
That Page doesn't sound right.
Or 540 Page Avenue, it says.
Oh.
Nah, the invoice is a little bit different than where I send it to. Okay, Will? Hey, trust me on that one. I told you some 45 is Park Avenue. But with that being said.
Fair enough. We're getting sidetracked.
The business that the NFL has, like, ratings matter for draft night, for ESPN, for NFL Network, for all people that are involved in it.
Fair enough.
If you got the number one overall pick, which is supposed to be the biggest surprise of it all, or at least have a guy that has been tabbed to be the dude for so long, Trevor Lawrence, not a Patrick Mahomes, but even Jadeveon Clowney, the lead up of him walking across the stage was big. Yeah. And all things NFL have to win. And I think Adam Schefter throwing that skepticism out there is a part of that plan for me. I think this is a TV thing.
Interesting.
Could be.
That's just my thought.
I would not underestimate that with the NFL and it wanting to be in control of everything and all eyes on them. Why not stretch this thing out a little bit longer if you can put in something like that to Adam Schefter where you know that that's going out everywhere and that, people, we got to tune in. We got to tune in to draft day. I mean, something might happen,
My only argument against that is that wasn't the case with Caleb Williams. That wasn't the case with Joe Burrow. That wasn't the case with Trevor Lawrence.
I think Caleb was a forgone number one, though. Like, that was not even a question.
But I think Cam is now, too.
I'm going to say this and not be and this isn't disrespectful what I'm going to say. Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, Jadeveon Clowney, who's some other number ones, overall number ones. Their difference is I feel like the stardom of where they're coming out is way higher than Cam's. if that makes sense.
Interesting.
It was exciting. It was exciting to see Joe Burrow, the lead up, the cigar, the national championship. It was exciting seeing Caleb Williams from high school to college to Heisman go get it. Respectfully, I say this, but Cam Ward is bringing you just quarterback one this time around. There's no Heisman. There's no championship.
No playoff.
There's no playoffs.
Right.
There's no fanfare behind it.
Fair
Even
point.
still, we're having the conversation of draft grade versus like draft just value with Cam. That's the only reason why. And then, of course, is the other side of like the Titans playing a part in it too. Like, in my personal
big
opinions
market.
on the business of the league, this is a situation where everything has to be amped up just a little bit more. And I say that again, not saying Cam's not going to be a superstar. I say that in a sense, those other dudes that went number one overall,
Perception.
you feel me?
Yeah, it's fair.
Well, Caleb Williams was talked about as a generational talent. Again, I think that that's a sloppy way to just throw around that sometimes when you don't know exactly what this is going to be in terms of quarterback out of everybody. Quarterbacks are the hardest to diagnose. Like, are they really going to be what they need to be? Depending on where they're going, depending on, if they actually do contribute at that level like they did in college. It's a very bad, I feel like, description of trying to tell anybody they're a generational talent. And that's kind of how they pumped that up. You knew those guys, like you mentioned, are going number one. Like you did not know this at first. Yeah, the hype's high now on Cam Ward, but that was not the case. We were still talking about Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, when all of this draft talk started. It was no guarantees to be a Cam Ward.
But even in that conversation right there, those two guys right there have had generational attached to them. And again, I say this in a very respectful way. Cam Ward hasn't had that attached to him.
Right.
And the same thing goes for Caleb Williams. And the same for Trevor Lawrence. Like, these guys have had this attached to them. Cam has yet to have that attached to him.
Yeah,
the
I'm
word
not arguing
generational,
that.
you gotta let me finish. The word generational has been attached to Borgonzi and Chad Brinker saying those things, not necessarily to the prospect of Cam Ward. Cam Ward is viewed as a rocket that can take the Titans to a position.
No one's arguing that.
Why do you think Cam Ward hasn't been dubbed generational? What in his scouting report dings him to not be put on that same pedestal as the top guys we've seen over the last 10 years?
Why hasn't he been?
Like, if he's not deemed a generational prospect, why?
And here's the thing, so let's strip it all the way down to, I don't think it's a black and white thing. I just think it's a production thing too. Because I just wanted to say that in a sense because Caleb Williams is a black guy that has had that attached to him too. Jadeveon Clowney also. For Cam Ward, in my personal opinion, and it's just the skepticism of will it work? It's where it's at. Like, and then also to the point of like, yes, he beat Florida, but what on the main stage?
Right.
Where on the main stage has he like taken over and just won the big game, a championship, or something thereafter? Like, even Jaden Daniels had the Heisman attached to him and LSU. Like, Miami is as prestigious as it is. Exactly.
Right.
As prestigious as Miami is, they have swing and a miss when it comes down to quarterbacks. So that plays a part in it too. And when you look at his journey, like, these people paint these pictures how they want to. Doesn't mean that he isn't, but they paint these pictures how they want to because of what you have done. It's just, being in youth sports, you see how it happens, is what I would say. And I'm not sure if Cam Ward being a 0-star to elevate himself to this way has ever had anybody get behind him and say, yeah, even still as we're leading up to this draft, they're doing it. I mean, we're doing the exact same thing. Is he worthy of the number one overall pick? Or is it just because there's only two quarterbacks in this draft?
Right.
Like, that's why, in my personal
I
opinion.
think it's simple. He was a 0-star, and he had to work his way up. He was never dubbed a generational talent, never dubbed a 5-star, didn't have all the fandom as he moved up the chain. I mean, really didn't even get that at Washington State, why he had to go to Miami to show it at the next level. I really think it is that simple as to why he is not dubbed some sort of miracle quarterback, generational quarterback. And I actually like that. I like the fact that he is able to kind of keep that chip on his shoulder and know that he still has to prove at the next level that he can be a quarterback that can be special. And you look at Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes wasn't dubbed some generational talent. And he was able to have a team take a chance on him and was able then to show he could be that guy, even though maybe you didn't see it at the college level.
Yeah. I don't think it's all recruiting rankings. Like Abdul Carter, I've just looked up to see, was the number 33 linebacker in the country going into college. I do think it plays a role in it, 100%.
Like if you're especially.
Yeah, sometimes. I think so. And then other times, I mean, I think it's his weaknesses. Like his weaknesses are so glaring in terms of some of the decision making that he has that's just really, really bad. That's what keeps him from being a generational prospect. If we're looking at the scouting report, we look at some of the interceptions he throws and some of the fumbles that he has. It's that piece of it that's separating him from being generational prospect level. And I think in order to be generational prospect, you either got to win the Heisman or win a national championship.
Oh,
you got to win one at quarterback.
At quarterback.
At every other position, different. In order to be a generational quarterback, you've got to either win a national championship or win a Heisman. He was close to winning a Heisman.
He was close.
But his team, and I know he can't play offense and defense, don't get me wrong, wasn't at that level. So,
Or you have to be dynamic enough to where they see you above everybody else in your. Like when Jaden Daniels won the Heisman, like his team didn't have the greatest year.
They had a similar defense to what Miami had last year.
Nobody could touch his performance. Right. Like nobody could touch his performance. That's the difference, right?
But
there.
he wasn't dubbed generational talent, and they picked. A lot of people picked Caleb Williams over him, so he wasn't in that category either.
It's true.
I know, but like my point is, as far as like his fanfare that he gets, like Jaden Daniels brought that to the table more than anything, I feel like, than what Cam has done so far. Like generational hasn't been attached. I feel like if Borgonzi had never mentioned or Chad had never mentioned that word, I don't know if we'd be using it as much. But I felt like there was a lot more eyes over Jaden and what people thought he could do. I feel like now people are starting to see. They thought what he could do earlier. I feel like now they're starting to see what Cam Ward can do.
I think some of that in this market is because we were watching him play SEC football. To be honest with you.
You think so?
I do.
It's just that?
I do. I think we are so inundated with SEC football in this area of the country that I think we were watching a lot more Jaden Daniels week to week than Cam Ward. I watched a lot of Cam Ward this past season because I was praying on Miami's downfall so Tennessee could make the playoffs.
But this isn't, in my opinion,
I'm halfway joking.
This isn't a regional thing. I feel like this conversation is a national conversation.
Well, let's go back to what we were saying about Jaden Daniels this time last year, though. It was, he's athletic. He's done some good things, but is he that athletic compared to NFL edge rushers? Like, does he have enough in Washington? Probably not. Like, I wasn't super high on Jaden Daniels.
It wasn't. It wasn't. He got a bigger following in Washington.
He did. I think so. I think it's fair. I do not think it's a coincidence that the Giants signed Russell Wilson the same day this tweet came out.
As far as what?
So the Adam Schefter tweet of the price just went up for the number one pick. Mm-hmm. It's not a coincidence. That happened the same day that the Giants gave up on trading up and signed Russell Wilson. I think the Titans are the driving force behind this message from Schefter to put out there, hey, yesterday's price is not today's price. Mm-hmm. We've seen Cam Ward in person. We've talked with him. We actually like him enough to bring him in for a private workout. So if you thought you could get the number one pick for this price, let's say, 2 ones at a 2, throw in an extra 1 now, buddy.
Yeah. And that's why I said they have nothing to lose, just playing this game till the very end if they want to. I mean, who cares if they don't disclose that they're drafting Cam Ward right now? So
what disclosing that does, though, is that it gives confidence that he's your guy and that you love him. Yeah. And my concern, my cautious concern, I'm not going to go total negative, but it is a little bit of a worry. If they loved him, I think they'd say it. They might really like him. Mm-hmm. But if you loved Cam Ward, just tell us. It's okay. Like that's the thing.
Middle school love.
And maybe I'm being over negative and a cynic, and you can tell me if I am. But that is my little bit of pause, just the 10% of skepticism in the back of my brain of like, well, if you love the guy, We all think you drafted him. Just confirm it.
No, y'all can't have no reservations after I got on this radio network and sung.
That's what I'm saying.
Hell no.
You're just saying
I don't have
Cam
any
Ward is coming to
No.
town. I know Kayla's not had reservations for months. Like,
not even an inkling. Like, we're talking about 99.
I'm talking about what they believe
Yeah,
in
what
that
they
building.
think. You know, not
if
what
you
we
really
think.
loved him, wouldn't you just say it? Why do this whole,
Well, I
well,
get what
we
you're
still
saying.
could listen to offers? Like, if you love a quarterback, you never listen to offers. There's no price if you love Cam Ward that's going to get you to come off that pick since you signed Brandon Allen. There's not.
It's just hard because, like, we don't know a lot about this Mike Borgonzi world yet. I mean, we can say everything that we thought he did at, Kansas City, but he wasn't the boss there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the boss man here for the most part, making those decisions. Like, how does he go about his business? We're going to see firsthand in this first draft how that really does happen. So you do think in the back of your mind, man, could they just be thinking, yeah, this is how we're going to play all of this? And if there is a reason that we may be able to still trade because we get a bag, they're going to still play that game. I don't think it's happening, but I feel like we don't know them well enough yet.
D2 in our chat said, no, you can't use the L word too early in a relationship. Lie. Lie. Okay, you are a liar, sir. Oh, ma'am, whichever one you are. Because here's the thing. Cam has been adamantly, I feel like the visuals we got on NFL Network, he liked them.
At Miami's
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
The Titans are in a position where they got to like
It's the
them.
happiest Brian Callahan's looked in months.
I know. I thought he was going to, like, poop his pants or something. He was so happy.
Like, the only person that wants this spot more than Cam Ward is Abdul Carter. Okay? Like, if that's your boo thing, go on and say y'all together. Like, I knew I was going to marry Keisha when I saw her. Okay? Like, I knew this thing. All right? Like, it's okay, D2, to say that that's your boo. Just, hey, get in for the long ride.
You know.
Y'all gonna have some fights. Y'all gonna have some good times. But as long as your good times more than your bad, I sound like I'm out here preaching at somebody's wedding.
Maybe
I can't wait to grab the mic at your wedding.
Save it for my wedding,
I
right?
was going to say, save it for Will's wedding.
I can't wait, Will. But no, man. He yours. Own it.
Gerardo up first on the phone, 615-737-1045. What's up, Gerardo?
Morning, y'all. Morning.
Morning.
Just to touch on the topic you guys were saying about the whole generational talent term real quick. I think there's two factors that kind of why he's not portrayed that way in the national media. And I think it's just subconsciously we don't really think about it. But I think the fact that this year's quarterback class hasn't been as upfront, and clear as to who's the top throughout the whole year, I think that may be a factor. And another thing is I really do feel like the fact that he's just been associated with the Titans since pretty much the when we got the number one pick draft order, I really feel like that's just kind of it's watered down. Whoever was going to be, whether it was Cam, whether it was Travis at the time, I really think that's been a big factor as to why we don't get so much credit as to why we're going to get a generational type of talent. I do think he is a generational type of, and the intangibles are there, guys. It's just a matter of whether Callie and everybody can make it work. But it's a key word that's got to be with Cam, and it's going to be patience. We gotta give him a chance, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Gerardo. The argument against that is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow did not spend the whole season at LSU as a generational quarterback. He became that in the last 2 months. I remember actually, it was funny enough, I watched that LSU-Florida game where he beat Florida, and it was kind of one of his coming out parties in like October. I remember thinking like, man, I'd love for him to replace Ryan Tannehill at that point. This was the 2019 season. I'm like, that's your succession plan. You can get him middle of the first round, back when the Titans picked in the middle of the first round. And I remember looking at a mock draft. It was that next week, and it was like Sporting News and Joe Burrow, 12th overall to the Titans. It's like, oh, man. Wow. And then, obviously he became the number one overall pick.
Joe Burrow's journey was so wild, too, because when I was in Columbus, he was there, and he just kept sitting behind. Like, he couldn't win that starting job, but they had so much hype behind him. And then he was finally able to make that into something at LSU. So, he was very highly thought of.
It's the one thing he and Will Levis have in common. They both transferred away from their original Big Ten school because they weren't the starter.
So there was a lot of hype
There
out of high
was.
school.
Yeah,
Yes.
So see,
there
that's
was.
Number 7 quarterback in the country. I just looked that
Athens.
up a minute ago because he was local. Like, he wasn't an elite
that's
quarterback
Ohio
prospect.
local.
He was a local good prospect.
Gotcha.
He's the number 7 quarterback in the country the year he came out of high
So
school.
we're talking about like Ty
According to
Simpson,
247.
basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah,
Ty Simpson,
be like Ty
Tennessee.
Simpson in Tennessee.
Okay, all right.
Or George McIntyre in Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly.
George. Yeah, that's right. That's
For
right.
sure.
100%. Your phone calls next at 615-737-1045. We'll start with Joe and CJ. Your thoughts on Cam Ward, the Titans, and the quarterback decision next.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70%
It's Ramon
off
Foster for the Wellness
Membership can't change your
Institute
life,
of
but we can
Nashville.
change
Good
the
people,
way
they
you
have my stamp of stamp of approval for this deal that they have going that could change your life. It is the behind the lines offer where you get a $37 consultation. And that includes a doctor's visit, x-rays if you need them, and your first treatment. If you need a more in-depth treatment, well, because you are part of the Zone family, they will give you 50% off spinal decompression treatment. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley just want you to get better. I was telling one of my good friends about this, and I tell myself that, look, go get that taken care of, man. You've been lifting weights, been running, hitting people. And for you folks just on your day-to-day, you never realize how much bending and weights you lift on a day-to-day basis and how that affects your back and your spine. Your spine is where all of your nerves go through your entire body. Why have that be in pain? Start your road to a pain-free life, and it is possible, all right? You can call the Wellness Institute of Nashville at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
Wrapping up hour 3 on RKW. We are brewed by Scooter's Coffee, White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood, where you get a fresh cup this morning. Rhett Bryan coming up in 15 minutes. A big guest coming up tomorrow that we're going to tell you about in just a moment. But first, to the phones. Joe is in Bowling Green up next. Hey, Joe.
Good morning, lady and gentlemen.
Morning.
Hello.
I think the Titans are going to take Ward. They seem to be cozying up to him. But I looked at the Bears last year,
Sure.
and they drafted Williams, and at the end of the year we saw that their coach got fired, and he was arguably the fourth best rookie quarterback in the league. So, there's no guarantee with Ward. I'd like to see him. I'm like Ramon. I'd like to see him drop back. I think there's, like everybody else says, there's so many holes in this team. And Ward, to me, is not a sure thing. He had some sack issues in college. He had some turnover issues in college.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he even is the type of quarterback that fits the Titan system right now. So, what do you guys think about the system fit?
Joe, I do know this. Our ship has sailed. We are no longer a part of this discussion as trade back people.
Yeah, that's right. No.
He did mention,
I was for a long time. Then they signed Brandon Allen to play quarterback. It's what happened. It's not personal. It's just what happened. I'd rather watch Cam Ward play for the Titans than Will Levis.
He just got up and made his cup of coffee this morning.
Brandon Allen knows what he is. He's a backup quarterback.
If that.
Brandon Allen's not coming here competing to be QB1.
That's real.
He might just be, like you said, a teacher in
He's
the room.
further away from being QB1 than Mason Rudolph
Right?
was.
This is to you, Brandon Allen. This cup of Joe.
I like you, buddy. We'll have you on the show if you want.
He's
But,
probably
I
working
don't
on
know.
bands
What are you
right
talking
now. This time of the offseason, he's working on bands
Working
and
on that
core.
forearm.
The one
And his
area where I
writing
will
hand.
push back on what Joe said is I don't think Caleb Williams was the fourth best rookie quarterback last year.
Where you put him? I
Um,
think he's about third.
I'd say at worst he's third. I'd probably put him second.
Really?
He threw for 3,500 yards.
So don't look at the results of the record is what you tell him.
No.
Okay, all right.
Right.
No,
Okay.
again, like Matt Eberflus it's Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, they should have fired him before that.
They should have.
Let's be honest.
They should have torn
rookies-
it down and given him a fresh start. I think with Ben Johnson, I've liked Caleb Williams from the beginning. I still do. He got sacked 68 times last year.
Yep.
A lot of those were his fault. Like, it's not just on the offensive line, but they gave him a veteran offensive line. There is no hiding from his evaluation becoming more clear this season. We get all our answers on Caleb Williams in 2025.
I think by default, though, he's got to go to 3 because Bo made the playoffs. Bo and Jaden both made it. I know. I feel you.
Bo was such a surprise in the way that he did what he did. But then you say Sean Payton, what a perfect match. And you were just talking about the system. He was wondering about that.
So, yeah.
Can I just say this, though? I'll say that that's on Brian Callahan then if there is this whole thing that it doesn't work out in this system, because Brian Callahan is the one that said that it does not matter what the system is.
Yeah.
He should make a quarterback work in that system.
The system's going to have to change. He's going to have to fit Cam Ward's skill set, which is not the same skill set as what he came from in Cincy.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
CJ, up next. What's up, CJ?
Good morning. I wanted to weigh in and say that the idea of Cam Ward as a generational talent, I think there are two factors why he's not being considered that. The first is that most generational talents have a buildup, a hype that comes with them, whether earned or otherwise, that usually comes from being in one place at one time. So when you look at his track, he was it Incarnate Word, then he goes to Washington State, and then at Miami. I think if you had seen him at Miami from the very beginning, not even necessarily doing what he did last year, but moving up that ladder, it'd be easier to peg him as, wow, we haven't seen this, or we've only seen this, every so often, and then the stuff generational. I don't even think it's a matter of who you play, because that argument's been blown out of the water many times before. When you look at some of the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, where they played college football at, it has more to do with your performance, but a performance under the spotlight and where everybody can see you. That's point one. Point two, nobody has mentioned the pairing with him and Shedeur Sanders, because what Shedeur has done over the past year, I'm not taking the first year into account, is that he garnered a lot of the attention and the hype that would be dubbed for usually just a generational talent. And what that did was it didn't create separation between Cam and Shador until you got to the workout. So it was like, who's going to be QB1? Think about the beginning of the season. Milroe, Beck, Daniels, Jackson Dart. It didn't get separation.
Yeah, thank you,
like
CJ.
The last 3 weeks.
CJ, thanks, man. We'll talk about it. We got to move on.
I just hope he didn't get pulled over because I heard the siren.
Yeah, be safe right there, my brother.
Again, the example against that argument is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was not generational until the very end, and then he became a can't-miss prospect. So while I mostly agree with you, there are still examples of generational prospects that burst on the scene last minute.
Yeah.
There are just flaws in Cam Ward's game that keep him from being that.
Yeah, I think it's actually the mixture of both. I think it's that you were a 0-star, you had to really work your way up, and then, you do have that part of your game that is questionable. And so when you mix kind of the two parts, I just don't think you could be dubbed that.
I agree with him on the hype, though. Shador definitely came in.
I do, too. I kind
and
of
Deion also jumped out front
too.
with that. He's going to be top 5.
Yeah.
And Carson Beck had a lot of that hype.
Carson Beck did as well.
I mean, for Joe Burrow's year, it was Tua. Tank for Tua was the whole season. Hey, tank for Tua. He's crushing at Alabama. And then Joe Burrow went on a generational heater.
Milroe did have a lot of it this year.
Jalen Milroe?
In the offseason.
I've not.
Felt like in the offseason he did, especially with I remember the conversation being Kalen DeBoer.
I did not read. Yes, that part of it, yes. I think as a college player, I don't think Jalen Milroe ever had generational level NFL talent.
I was speaking about being ahead of him.
Yeah.
Being ahead of Cam.
I'm talking about just as a prospect.
Got you.
Mark of the Borough gets the last call on this. What's up, Mark?
Hey. Good morning, RKW.
Morning, Mark.
Man, I just got a quick question about Ewers and Dart. I know I'm going to get some hate about this, but Quinn Ewers, he don't look that, I probably ain't saying his last name the right way, but Ewers, he don't look that bad. He don't look that bad at all. And if he slides to the second, Levis was a project in the second. I don't think Ewers would be a project. But Dart, why is people picking Dart over Ewers? And it may surprise a lot of people that Ewers and Dart may be better than Sanders and Ward.
Sure.
2 or 3 years later.
Thanks, Mark. I think people are taking Dart over Ewers because Dart's more accurate than Ewers. I think people aren't considering Dart in the top level because all of his throws are wide open, if I can put it as simply as I possibly can. Lane Kiffin's offense schemes guys wide open, college, high school open. You don't see a lot of Jackson Dart making tight window throws as much as you do Shador Sanders and Cam Ward just because of the system. And Quentin Ewers isn't accurate.
And the footwork.
He pulls that ball from the hip.
He's not accurate.
Yeah.
He misses a lot of throws that you're like, that's a 12-footer. You got to put that in the hoop.
If he'd have lived up to it, he'd be number 1. If he was at
high school too. He was generational.
And he kind of got banged up too throughout his career. Like he could never just play and continue to play.
The official RKW draft expert on the FNN Bank chat, Stoney Keeley, says Dart has a better arm than Ewers.
There you go.
Good analysis. Coming up, Rhett Bryan. We're scouting inside linebackers with Titans Radio's executive producer next.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. I'm getting ready to talk to you folks out there. You know who you are, man. You're the ones walking around your yard every day getting mad, upset when you see weeds in your yard, man. You obsessively care about your grass. Your spouses and friends tell you to talk about your grass more than you talk about anything else. That's because you want to be the envy of your neighborhood. You want to be magazine ready when that first cut comes, man. Listen to me. Secure Lawn is the company you need to reach out to. They are a company that want to provide you with prime service. And what that means is making sure that you have the best yard in the neighborhood. They're prompt. They're professional. They're also family owned and operated and are local. Been here for over 20 years. Listen. listen, if you want to go ahead and get a head start on your lawn, go ahead and give the company I trust and also use a call at 615-893-8455 and go to securelawn.com.
It is 9:03 for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. Top 30 visits continuing for the Tennessee Titans. And according to social media, the Titans have a running back in town today. The Titans are hosting Iowa running back Caleb Johnson on a pre-draft visit, according to his Instagram. It's a pretty good source. Johnson, a consensus All-American and Big Ten running back for the Hawkeyes in 2025. Elsewhere in the NFL, four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs and the New England Patriots reached an agreement on Tuesday on a 3-year, $69 million deal that includes $26 million guaranteed. The 31-year-old suffered a season-ending torn ACL in Week 8. When he got hurt, he ranked 7th in the league in catches and was second on the Texans with 496 receiving yards. The New York Giants are adding another quarterback. 10-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson is signing a 1-year, $10.5 million deal with the team. He joins a loaded quarterback room featuring the just-signed Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. Last season at Pittsburgh, Wilson started 11 games, finishing with 16 touchdowns and 5 picks. Last night on the ice, the Predators beat the Hurricanes 3-1 on the road. Luke Evangelista scored twice as UC Saros secured his 200th career win with 34 saves. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Brewed by Scooters Coffee for one final hour on this Wednesday with locations at White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Crew is all here. Full studio, joined by Rhett Bryan as we are Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on the program. Good morning, Rhett.
What we're hearing.
That is right.
So I just heard your top of the hour update, and it's interesting just to see how all of a sudden that just, Jameis, I didn't necessarily think Jameis Winston was going to be the option, but then they go get Dangerous, and so here we have that loaded, 3 QBs, and could they draft one? Sure, but I think that's the sign now that that's either open for trade or going a different direction. Mm-hmm. But the thing that is becoming more and more in focus for me, and I think we started talking about it last week when I was with you guys, is Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 overall pick with whoever picks him. And then it gets really interesting after that for Shedeur Sanders, because if Cleveland doesn't take him at 2 or Vegas doesn't take him at 6, and I think I said it last week, there's a chance he falls. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think he falls out of the first round.
Right. I agree.
But I think he falls.
You're talking about New Orleans at 9. You're talking about Dallas at 12. Is there a team like Pittsburgh who
at 21
encouraged to even move up? Does Pittsburgh feel like they need to go up to 11 if the Cowboys are at 12 and keep Shedeur Sanders from going to Dallas?
So
there are a lot of options.
That is where some of the quarterback talk is getting more interesting as we're a month out now.
It is. And Mike Tannenbaum had
33rd team.
Jackson Dart at I think 24, 26 in the first round too recently.
And a lot of people scoff at those things and like, oh, Jackson Dart, are you serious? Well, he's like a 3rd rounder. This is the quarterback position now. That wouldn't surprise me if he snuck into the bottom of the first round somewhere.
I agree. No doubt about it. I know you watched Cam Ward's pro day the other day, Rhett.
Yeah.
Before we dive into inside linebackers, which is our main topic point today, what did you like from watching Cam throw in, albeit shorts and a T-shirt down in Coral Gables?
Well, the thing that I think I like as it pertains to any off the field, just the way he carries himself, the swagger he carries himself with, the interaction, and the other part was I noticed through social media and other things who he was interacting with the most and who he wasn't. And I'm like, interesting. Mm-hmm. Of course, one of those was the general manager of the New York Giants. And then we see why he wasn't really interacting with them, because here they are with Russell Wilson.
Sure.
But, and look, his guys came out and did their guy, a solid, just like every pro day, the receivers. I mean, Xavier Restrepo is there and Elijah Arroyo and all of his favorite targets. And he did the work. I mean, you saw him go over and say, hey, I'm just solidifying. That's what he's telling Chad Brinker and Brian Callahan and Mike Borgonzi. But I thought he made, he did what he was supposed to. I'm not hitting here going, whoa, look at all, because I know what a pro day's for. But he checked all the boxes and did what he was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. He did it. I mean, and he absolutely could have solidified himself. But like I said a minute ago, I don't think he needed much solidification. I think he's the number 1 overall pick. It just depends on whether the Titans deal that or take him.
What do you think the private workout that they've been reported to have with him then entails? Is there extra things that they're going to ask of him that might be more not scripted? Because, of course, with Pro Day, you get to kind of script what you do. Is that maybe what you do when you do these private workouts?
Yeah, I think, it depends on the flavor of the coach and the GM and, what they want. But obviously, they've had serious interaction with him, probably, certainly at the Combines where it started. And it was reported they had dinner with him the night before the Pro Day and all that stuff. So they're getting to know him a little more. So that continues to be a part of the process. And, yeah, it wouldn't be a surprise if they took him into the bubble and, did some tossing around. But also maybe some whiteboard stuff of,
for sure,
hey, we, regurgitate this play to me, and what do you do? And watching, I think there's a lot to that. And look, the other part of it is, if you're going to select this young man number 1 overall, you better do your due diligence, and that's just a part of what this is. Mm-hmm. Knowing you're sitting in the number 1 spot, you're going to have your top 30 visits, but if that's it, you're going to do that. So, because they've already had visits from Shedeur Sanders, and then maybe Travis Hunter.
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter, that's
Friday,
right. That's right. That's
Whose
right.
pro day is Friday.
Yes.
Even though he's not going to do much.
There's still a handful of those pro days left, too, by the way. Just kind of looking through that by school yesterday. And there's a handful, like Shedeur is April 4th, I think.
believe.
Yeah. And there's a
Next
few
week.
guys that are doing individual things because they had some injuries at the Combine. Like some of the off-ball linebackers we're going to talk about today. There's one in particular is doing that, too.
Nice.
But, yeah, I thought he did everything you're supposed to do at a pro day. I think he certainly got an A on the exam for that.
I'm just glad we didn't see the Zach Wilson sideways throw down the field. Like, I was just glad we didn't have to get that one and just talk about
at least with Cam Ward, too, like when he's drifting left and throwing it 40 yards down the field, drifting the opposite way, he's actually made that throw in games.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I didn't hear your segment earlier, Zone Podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, go get them. How did it go with the blind comparisons?
It was good. Kayla got all
fun.
4.
This is something we kind of hatched in
talked
the
about this
green room
yesterday.
Oh, you guys did?
Yeah. Because I was
Nice. That's
talking
fun.
about a couple of comps that you're seeing. Obviously, was it Nate Tice with Yahoo had the Steve McNair comp, but you'll hear whispers of Mahomes and even some of these other guys. But I thought that was an interesting exercise to do. But that's what made me think about that when you talk about the Zach Wilson, because he's dealing like a shortstop in baseball, and Mahomes does that same kind of thing, the flick of the wrist, and I think it was interesting in Lance Zierlein's info about Cam Ward is if you can dial him back a notch, maybe you can make him more efficient. In other words, dial back on the hero ball stuff just a little bit and get him to, work on reads and progressions, which
100%.
Every quarterback comes out, it's got some work to do in that and some more than others.
No doubt. That is going to be the difficult balance, right, when they do draft Cam Ward, because Team Trade Back died this morning when Ramon Foster sang a song that he's given up on the Trade Back team. We can play that for you coming back from the next break.
Wow, I would like to hear that.
The biggest balance is going to be let Cam Ward be Cam Ward, but also elevate Cam Ward away from the bottom 10% of his mistakes, which are pretty dang bad at times. Okay. The hard part.
Sure.
But we'll see.
We will see.
We're here for
speaking of singing too, by the way, I get emails from push notifications from different places, and I got one from Ticketmaster last night. I did not realize this. Did you know who is coming to? It's a tour called Four Queens, And coming to Bridgestone May 18th, Shaka Khan, Stephanie Mills, Patty LaBelle, Gladys Knight.
Yes,
Whoa.
absolutely.
Like, you know what?
That's gonna be
hitters right there.
It's gonna smell like
it's a four of a kind.
Smell like white diamonds
Yeah.
and strong cologne in there the whole time. The old heads gonna be out. There's gonna be some young old heads in there too.
Sure.
100%.
Well,
Boy,
you know,
absolutely.
Shaka Khan was supposed to play the Ryman a couple of years ago, and she got sick. Something happened, I forget, and she had to. But anyway,
I'm glad to see
I was
them on tour together. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's big time.
That's some
man.
legends there.
What is that green room like? That's what I'd like to know.
no doubt.
Well,
But I'm like, you know what? I might want to take that one in.
Yeah, no, they're gonna have their own green rooms because those are all for divas.
Yes.
That's true.
Queens get their own green room.
Yeah, that's true.
The Queen room.
Yeah.
Queen
For that
room.
tour.
Yeah, that's what
right.
they get.
Coming up, scouting inside linebackers with Rhett Bryan after this. Hey, it's Will Bowling. If you've been looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here, maybe you've looked elsewhere. Well, I'm here to tell you there's one place with the best reputation around, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. You got to check these guys out because they're different for a few simple reasons. They've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They're Nashville natives, like me. They sell only clean title cars under 12 grand. So if you're new to town and you're looking for that place to trust that knows the market, knows the area, does business the right way, look no further than Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Check out the Google reviews as well. Excellent. That is a big feather in your cap for a car dealership. Give them a call, 615-242-1279. Talk to them, figure out what inventory they've got, what you like, and they're going to get you out in an hour or less once you head there. The best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. They work with your own financing if you've got it. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Call them at 615-242-1279.
Cam Ward is coming to town. Cam Ward is coming to town. Cameron Ward is coming to town.
Got a little bit of song inception to start the fourth hour. In our continued visit with Rhett Bryan. Rhett, are you sending Ramon to Hollywood?
No. I love you, Ramon, but no.
It's going to be a no for me, though.
That's the answer.
Randy Jackson.
And for that reason, I'm out.
Can I auto-tune
You
it?
need Simon Cowell.
Yes, you do that. We're probably in
Ramon,
business.
I thought you've been terrible with that performance. Simon Cowell here, it's a no for me.
Hey, man.
Still miss him on that show, man.
Simon Cowell.
He was
not on?
He's on
brutal.
America's Got Talent now.
Yeah.
He was
original.
brutal.
AGT.
American Idol, yeah.
Ooh.
I loved that show growing up so much.
Which one?
American Idol.
Yeah. me
Oh,
too.
I was every season. I was locked in. That's why I loved Chris Daughtry growing up. He was my favorite singer.
Yep.
Anyway.
Does it, before we get to the linebackers, I don't know if I actually, with my singing right there, Rhett, I was conceding the fact of trade back because the Giants and Russ kind of made it official. You give Jameis $8 million basically to be a backup.
10.5 for Russell.
Yeah, 10.5 up to 20 plus for him if he does hit his incentives.
And then Tommy Cutlets is a 3 there.
Yeah, exactly.
Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets.
What are you going to do?
Does it?
What are you going to do?
Does it take
can't
the
refuse.
option of trading back away for you with all of that?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. That's why I was. Yeah.
Look, anything can happen, but we're a month out, and this is kind of the moves that are happening.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do something big, it usually doesn't happen on draft night. This is not Kevin Costner's scenario.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Cam Ward, no matter what.
A tune for the people to get jiggy with.
I've never watched that movie, Draft Day.
I haven't either.
Never watched
I've
it.
seen that.
You
It's
know
fun.
why?
Yeah.
I ain't watch it because I was just like, I wasn't a part of it, so let me not.
You're like, I'm not.
For the longest,
Makes
I
me
never
sad.
watched a draft, period.
Really?
No, absolutely not.
I feel you.
Yeah, for the longest, I never did. Now I can. I still hadn't
Yeah.
watched the Super Bowl that we lost in. It's weird.
Yeah, I could see
You're just
that.
wired weird like that. So it is what it is. But yeah.
Understandable.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry for me.
No, I'm
be
sorry.
happy that it happened.
Mama?
You made it 11 years.
Mama, help
Made it
me.
11 years. Pick me
Yeah.
up, I'm scared.
Some
No.
ships never leave, baby.
I feel you. No doubt about it. Rhett Bryan in studio talking about inside linebackers this morning as the board continues to come together for the Titans radio crew. Rhett, your number one inside linebacker. I imagine this is a position that Coach Dave McGinnis just has no fun at all breaking down in this process. Really wish he knew what he was talking about, as he would say. Who's number one on the board at inside linebacker for you?
I think it's the number one for a lot of boards, and it's Jihad Campbell from Alabama. And, you're talking about a guy that he has some position versatility because he didn't start at off-ball linebacker in this. He finished his career at Alabama there. He started as an edge pass rusher. So he's able to do those things, and that's the scary part about how good this guy could be is he's still learning that position. So he rang in at the combine 6'2" and 7'8", so nearly 6'3", 235 pounds, hands 10.5, arms 32.5, wing 80 inches.
Decent.
Long.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's see. Jihad Campbell, 4.52 in the 40, 1.53 in his first 10. So there's the explosion, the burst, 10.7 in the broad, and 238 total tackles, 16 for loss, 10 sacks, 2 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles in his career at Alabama, 27 games, 16 starts. And, first team All-SEC, second team All-American. I mean, he's what you're looking for if that's what you need.
No doubt.
And I'm not disparaging anything, saying anything disparaging about the other linebackers. There's some good linebackers in this group.
Yes, it is.
Of different shapes and sizes, but he would be the one that leads the pack there.
We saw one of those at the Senior Bowl, man. Jeff Bassa. Oregon, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeffrey Bassa.
He made some plays. Now, I'm not sure where the Titans are going to be picking guys at, too, but from what we saw from him, he can move side to side well enough, right, from what my understanding and how he played. And there was a couple other linebackers, too, down there that played very well. And one in particular I have on my list I want to ask you about because he
Sure.
played lights out against the Vols.
Jeffrey Bassis, 6'1 1/8", 232, hands 9 1/4, arms 31 3/8, wing nearly 79. In testing, he had a 4.63 in the 40, 1.59 in his first 10, 7.343 cone drill, 38.5-inch vertical leap, 9.10 broad, 21 reps at 225. And the thing that's interesting about him, again, he's a guy that is still learning the position because he's a converted safety.
Yeah.
And he's moving. It's kind of like James Williams with the Titans, number 52 here, who played safety in college and moved up a level just because of his size. It's kind of the same scenario, and he's still learning the stuff. But, yeah, he absolutely had a great week in Mobile at the Senior Bowl.
I wonder that 4.6 speed is somewhat surprising considering he's coming from safety, but safeties aren't corners. Corners are a different speed in general. Safeties are your big bruiser guys. That's what you want them to
coming
do.
downhill.
Yeah, coming downhill.
1.59 in his first 10.
Yeah, that's, hey,
little burst right there.
Guards buckle up because he's coming through your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. The other one, I'm not sure if I'm taking your thunder from this.
No, I've got plenty.
Dr. Thunder?
No. Dr. Thunder, no. Danny Stutzman, Oklahoma.
You know how much I like him.
I know. I
That's
brought
his
that
guy.
up. Yeah, it is.
It's just the production level at Oklahoma. Like, the guy played a lot of football, and he played at a really high level on a good defense. Say what you will about Oklahoma, the offense, and Oklahoma, the program right now under Brent Venables. I like a Brent Venables inside linebacker.
Yes.
All right. Danny Stutzman.
Athletic freak, too.
Oh, yes, indeed. What we're hearing. Danny Stutzman, 6'3 1/4, 233 hands, 9, 32 1/8-inch arms, wing 77.5, 4.52 in the 40. And again, at 6'3 1/4, 233 pounds, 1.55 at his first 10. Ramon, 34-inch vertical leap.
Moving.
And then you look at the production, 376 total tackles, 8 sacks, 3 interceptions, 44 career games at Oklahoma, 37 starts. So veteran player in terms of experience in college. And consensus All-American, first team All-SEC. Only missed 3 games in his college career in 2021, and I forget what the injury is, but yeah, I mean, that's a big and pretty quick dude who has production and can help you. And at a big program, like you said, Will.
Danny's got a lot of personality, too. I'm diving into what he's got going on.
Oh, yeah.
The picture I see of him, he's got braids like Travis Scott in his profile picture, okay? And I'm just looking at him like, okay, is he interracial? Not that it matters, but like looking at his stuff, I'm like, you took your team-issued photo and got braids like Travis Scott. This is hilarious
He's got
to
some,
me.
some
He might be fiend. Fiend. Fiend.
Hey, check out Rhett Bryan.
I love it.
Let's go.
Rhett, when you get into the weeds on some of these guys, maybe like day 3 guys, I know it was reported that the Titans met with Teddy Buchanan out of Cal after his pro day. What are we looking like in terms of a guy like him, maybe day 3?
Yeah, Teddy Buchanan. Let me look and see. All right, 6'2 1/8, 233, 9 3/8-inch hands, 31 3/8-inch arms. A little shorter arm guy, so almost 76-inch wing. Let's see what he tested. Let me find that here. My apologies for not having that. 4.60 in the 40, 1.59 in his first 10 yards, 40-inch vertical leap. 10.5 broad, 26 reps at 225. And that would be value there. And I'll give you another one that also played on the West Coast. Obviously, there's a couple of them. Carson Schlesinger from UCLA is one near the top and probably round 2, I would say. Maybe even round 1, but anyway. He did not participate in his pro day March 17th because he had a hamstring he was working through. He's going to do one here in about a week or 2, just a solo. But Carson Schlesinger, 6'2 1/2, 242, hands 9 1/4, arm 31 5/8, wing almost 79, 39.5-inch vertical leap for him, 20 reps at 225. And I'm equally interested in his teammate at UCLA, Kane Medrano.
Okay.
Kane Medrano, 6'3", 222, arms 32, hands 9 1/8, 196 total tackles, 21 for loss, 3.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, 30 starts at UCLA, 46 games, 4.46 40. 38-inch vertical leap, 157 in his first 10, broad jump 10.5, and recently at his pro day did a 6.96 three-cone drill.
That's impressive.
So that's a guy that is probably a day 3 pick.
Yeah.
That could certainly help you. But again, it's what do you want? I mean, there are names and sizes all throughout this. Chris Paul from Ole Miss, they call it Pooh is his nickname.
Literally, when Rhett told me that the first time, I thought he was joking. I thought this was a fake name. P-O-O-H.
Like Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Pooh Paul.
No, not like that Pooh.
Number 2.
But yeah,
Ole Miss.
So, and it's funny too because I didn't realize that until when we were at the combine, and his nameplate at his podium, Pooh Paul.
Yeah.
Paul.
So,
Pooh Paul.
Anyway,
I've heard that nickname before.
But you can differentiate yourself from CP3 too.
Yes, you can.
Chris Paul Jr.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I'm here all day. But Barrett Carter from Clemson, Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame, who we saw a lot in the college football playoffs. The guy that I've told you I love throughout this, and Demetrius Knight Jr. from South Carolina. He's married, got 2 kids, was an Uber Eats driver when he was at Charlotte before he transferred. Just a grown man who was an athletic quarterback and moved to defense and completely, learned.
I loved that story.
Doing his thing. And of course, Cody Simon at Ohio State, we saw a lot in the playoffs and it eventually win the national championship. Cody Lindenberg from Minnesota is another one.
Yeah.
There's some stuff in here. There really is.
So, Rhett, I'm interested in the profile of linebacker the Titans will be in the market for specifically when we look at their needs, because they bring in Cody Barton, who is by trade and by scouting report more of a run stopper. If they are in the market for a coverage linebacker, there is one that Tennessee heavily recruited out of high school, a 5-star they were very interested in, who decided, like many players who Tennessee is interested in, to go to Georgia instead of going to Tennessee. Smail Munden, Rhett Bryan, is, you talk about the faster, more fleet-footed inside linebackers who project as coverage specialists in the NFL. I look at him as an option, as someone who is very athletic, dealt with injuries through part of his career at Georgia, missed 4 games with a foot injury last season. But this guy has been the dude at inside linebacker since he was in high school. He's a 5-star out of high school, and to me, fits the coverage linebacker mold. Do you see that in you as well?
I do. And
or in him as well?
I think his name is pronounced Smile.
Smile, you're right.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's all right.
Smile.
I mean, it's not spelled typically that way, but
right. Smael.
Yeah. 6'2 and a quarter, 224, 9 3/4 inch hands, 31 3/8 3/4 inch arms, almost 81 inch wing on this guy. So very long pterodactyl. 4.58 in the 40, 1.52 in his first 10. So there's the explosion there.
Which is important for that position.
Yes, it is. 10-10 broad jump. And I haven't looked at what his what he did at Pro Day to see what he doubled down on. But maybe Georgia hadn't had theirs yet. I'd have to look.
They have.
Okay.
I could look it up here. But
yeah, that's Smile Munden is a guy that's, he's probably late night 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fourth round pick.
Early day 3.
Early day 3, of course, would be the 4th round pick. He's interesting to me, and again, I think if we talk about the Titans accumulating more picks based on who's there at pick 35, now that trade back camp is alive and well. That trade back camp is in its infancy.
Yeah, we're talking about something that's a whole different animal right there.
A whole different conversation. Because again, if there's an early run on some of these receivers, like say Tet McMillan does drop to later in the first round, or even in the second round, if some of the big red flags about him or Luther Burden really are accurate. Yeah. If there's a run on receiver, you can trade back in the second round and accumulate a 3rd round pick either next year or make some moves to get one this year. You talk about maybe picking up one of these inside linebackers on day 2.
Well, and that's not just the only position that you could be talking about there, because if there is, you could see a beginning little run on another group of quarterbacks, because Tyler Shuck, I think, had a very good pro day in Louisville yesterday.
Okay. Interesting.
And he's people keep talking about he's 26, he's old, he's this, he's that, he was injured in college. I think the guy may be kind of secretly something. He might
Sounds like an
be
LA
something.
Ram to me then.
Well, and here's the thing. When you look at the injury history, he was hurt all 3 years at Texas Tech.
Yep.
But he didn't tear a bunch of stuff. It was 2 broken collarbones and a broken leg.
Good point.
Now, I don't know if he's Mr. Glass or not, so we'll, but he put together a great year under, at Louisville. Jeff Brom. And finally put it all together.
Yeah.
I hear all the time people talking about his smarts, his experience, his leadership, and he can zip the ball. We saw that.
Yeah, we did. I thought he showed well at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
It showed. Like, he separated himself, I thought, in a group of guys that needed some separation.
It'd be great for the Titans if his stock, Jalen Milroe's stock, Will Howard, like Jackson Dart, you hope Jackson Dart is there at pick 35 so you can make a move back. Because I am all for that.
And Jalen Milroe, you bring up an interesting one, too. Did you see what he ran at his program?
Yes.
Into the 4.3s.
Turn some
and
heads.
that dude's, he's 6'2" and change, and he's not a light dude.
No.
It's twofold.
4.37?
Yeah.
I know that's a hand time at a pro day, but still.
Right.
But still, I mean, it makes sense.
At worst, that's a 4.5. If you've got somebody with a, quick trigger on the thumb.
I say at worst, it's a 4.47.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, too.
Yeah, and that's still, absolutely.
Because Indy is a little slower track.
It is.
But it ain't that much
that's the reason I
slower.
ran like a 5.5 and a 5.6. I know, right? Tell me.
Damn right. I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry, Ramon.
I have heard that. I've heard
Those
that, but
repressed
it's been a
memories
while
coming
since
back
I
up
heard
for
that.
Ramon this morning.
Yeah, let me make an excuse.
The
like
official
that.
vocalist of Ramon Kalen.
But there could be. And here's another one, and probably not trading up for receivers makes sense. Quarterback makes sense. Might not do this, but if somebody just thinks they're going to miss out on that next wave of running backs, because there's a bunch of them in here, and you're talking, the group after Ashton Genty and after Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, maybe there's somebody likes there, but quarterback's what would move the needle at 35 in round two.
Did for the Titans at pick 32 a couple of years ago.
Yep.
When they got Will Levis. So
that's correct.
That's very true. That position, inside off-ball linebacker for the Titans, you'd love, the ideal situation would be if James Williams could take that next step. But it's always so hard because you got to make a big splash in that rookie year, and then the next year you're salivating over the new group. If you're looking for answers in this draft, how beneficial would it be for the Titans if James Williams could turn into a starting linebacker?
Oh, it would be fantastic. And the two things to start with that are in his favor is Denard Wilson is still the defensive coordinator.
Facts.
Frank Bush is still his position coach. And you talk about two big advocates for his propulsion into rocket stardom. They're there for him, and they have nice things to say about him. They like him. They think that they could work with him and mold him into something. And, James Williams is a long, big dude. That's why he moved up to the next level. And people forget.
Miami guy.
And people forget. He was a 5-star recruit. I think he was the number 1 safety recruit and number 15 in the country.
That's correct.
When he came out of high school.
Yep.
He's what I imagine Keith Bullock looked like as a rookie, rangy.
Mm-hmm.
If he could get to that level of understanding of the game,
And KB, tall, long.
Yeah, yep.
And you've got Caleb Gray, too, that you've got to, you can't give up
Cedric
on him.
Gray.
Cedric Gray. You can't give up on him
That's
yet,
true.
right?
That's true.
4th round pick.
That's correct.
That's the only reason I bring up James Williams as far as starting to is because what I hope his coverage skills will be. I'm not
next to Cody
exactly.
Barton.
Because of the safety background.
The difference of
sub
styles.
packages. Nickel is the base defense now in the NFL. It was 3-4 and 4-3. Now it's just everyone's at nickel. So
I know. Yeah.
It's fair. Rhett Bryan with us Wednesday mornings as we continue draft coverage. We are within a month until the Titans are officially on the clock, Rhett.
Wow.
Crazy.
Love it.
It will be here before you know it, too.
Sure will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else will be here before you know it?
What's that?
Midweek motivation.
Midweek motivation. Plus, there is a fan base in college sports that has done something so unbelievably petty and hilarious on social media. I love this story. We'll talk about it coming up next. I'm all for vindictive fan bases because, let's be honest, I'm a part of one. And I love it when other fan bases do things that just kind of troll people that are maybe on their way out or just twist the knife a little bit. So when Sean Miller has the opportunity to leave Xavier, he's just always going to do it. He's done it again now.
All right.
The new head coach at Texas University, and he has to pick a pretty weird Twitter account because Xavier fans took all of the possible usernames for Coach Miller Texas on Twitter just so he couldn't pick something that made sense. He is Coach Miller __.
Let's go.
On social media.
Let's go.
I love it. Xavier fans, good for you. It's fantastic.
Funny.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Make them pay for it if they really want it.
Well, that was
Absolutely.
his second stint there, too.
I know. That's what I just said.
Yeah,
He's
so-
once again leaving Xavier.
I mean, I would get really kind of crappy with him if I were a fan
You
of
have to
Xavier.
at that point right there. I appreciate a good petty moment like that. So I had one of my former teammates hit me up about this. Like, you love a good petty. Yes, I do enjoy a good petty moment.
Like, imagine if Lane Kiffin was brought back by Tennessee when they hired Josh Heupel, and then Lane Kiffin left again. Imagine how people would feel in Knoxville about that after like a couple seasons.
There might be some bounty hunters behind him if that was the case.
Did you see who Xavier hired, though?
No.
I didn't see that.
Richard Pitino.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Where was he before?
New Mexico.
Okay.
Got the win in the first round of the NCAA tournament themselves. So Xavier and St. John's are both Big East schools. Richard versus Rick Pitino is now a conference matchup a couple times a year between St. John's and Xavier.
Love it.
Does he require you to call him Richard the same way Patrick is not Pat Mahomes is Patrick? Like, because I want to call him Rich.
I know him personally.
You
Or
see what
you
I'm
could
saying?
call
Like
him
that.
the other short name
Rich
for
Pitino.
Richard.
Some people get like that's all I've heard him be referred to as Richard Ricardo. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like those are type Rico, yeah, Patino. That's what I'm talking about.
You got off Richard so fast there.
That's what I'm saying.
You and Slay had this ability to come up with nicknames within about a 5-second span and call people things that are cool. You had this ability.
But they do call Richards another name,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that is
it's-
a true thing.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
old school.
Yeah.
Richards.
Richard
We
Nixon.
Yeah.
just-
absolutely.
I know.
I was just making sure that was still a thing.
The only reason I bring it up is because it's just like it's Rick Pitino. It's like it's easier to call him Rich is where you
Yes.
want to say it. So
I'm thinking of the other thing.
yeah, either
Patino.
We know. Yeah, we
that
got it.
Patino.
this is a family network.
You got it.
This is a family network. Okay. But with that being said, though, good for him. Texas, of course, we saw that on the wall whenever the coach lost the way he did. Although he made a great push to not get fired. But this is what happens. Texas, like I said this towards the latter part of before the SEC tournament ended. Texas and Oklahoma are going to reshift their NIL to make sure they're competent in basketball like that. Trey Johnson doing it mostly by himself like that wouldn't shock me watching Texas do what they did in football. You're going to see them on Lambos and diamond necklaces and everything else as it pertains to their basketball program, specifically because their females, their women's basketball team is that legit too.
They were good
We're in
this
an
year.
arms race right now as it pertains to sports.
Interesting. So there you go. Richard Pitino, Xavier. Xavier and St. John's going to be very fun in the future. I love that Big East basketball is back.
Oh, yeah.
It is very much back. I know St. John's did not perform well in the NCAA tournament, but it's just good to have an important tournament in Madison Square Garden. It's the way it should be.
St. John's brought out Spike Lee again.
Yeah, noted St. John's fan, Spike Lee.
No, but he's New York to the core, though, so I get it. But I ain't ever seen him courtside like that as of recent. But personalities matter in these hires, I feel like, a lot more than they used to, specifically when everything is a way to like endorse somebody or marketing behind it. Sam Patino, I ain't gonna lie to you, in the white suit again, that made me excited.
Mafia boss.
And basketball needs that. Like college basketball, that's not what the NBA is missing. But I'll say this, and I was talking to my wife about this yesterday too. Like, for all the people that don't want to watch the pro game, the NBA, like if you really are fans, and if you really are fans of basketball, there is no excuse not to be elevating the women's game. There is no excuse not to be pouring into what the men's college game is.
I'd rather watch women's college basketball than the NBA.
Yeah, like
I think the women's game has taken a gigantic leap.
It's just good, though. Like, it really is good. Who was it? Alabama and
Maryland.
Double
overtime. Sarah Ashley Barker had 45 and a loss.
Points.
And a loss.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
crazy.
Over here on the West End, what Vanderbilt women's game is doing, like, I'm not trying to be this huge advocate for women's sports, but if y'all hate the NBA that much, put your eyes and views somewhere else.
That's me.
Will, you are. you are. Like,
I like basketball. I am bored by the NBA.
Yeah.
And if we had a local team here, I could probably get into it.
Yeah.
But we don't. I have no local allegiance to the NBA, so it's hard for me to get into something that just doesn't do it for me.
It's just good right now, though. I love watching them.
I don't blame anyone who likes it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Inky Johnson, Midweek Motivation wraps up the show tomorrow on Ramon, Kayla, and Will at 8:20. VFL and the pride of the Bluegrass State, Chris Lofton, joins us here on the program. Cannot wait. My favorite Tennessee athlete growing up of all time. The reason why I wore number 5 and wanted to shoot fadeaways all the time.
Go watch SEC Story before the interview, by the way, too.
No, I'll let him know. I'm excited. Right now, though, another guy who was at UT around the same era. He is Inky Johnson, Midweek Motivation.
It says the brain has a natural tendency to look for ways to confirm what it believes to be true, right? Confirmation
Hold on,
bias.
say that one more time,
right?
bro. Say that again.
The brain has a natural tendency to look for ways to confirm what it believes to be true, right? Confirmation bias. So when we talk about problems, talking about our problems as our greatest addiction, break the habit, talk about your joys, just naturally, if you go through something, if the ball hasn't been bouncing your way, just naturally, people are going to talk about problems. Just naturally, right? It's like, that's why one of the greatest questions I get asked often is, you wouldn't change what happened to you, man? Like, you wouldn't change it? What about your arm? What about the atrophy? Because naturally, when they see it, they just make the assumption that I consider what happened to me to be a bad thing. They just make that assumption because they see what happened to me and they consider it to be tragedy, problem, opposition, challenge. I don't view it that way. Right? My thought process and my perspective about it, it brings me great joy because of the individual that it's turned me into. It brings me great joy because of the perspective that I've acquired. It brings me great joy because of the way that I view life every single day when I wake up. And so when it says break the habit, right? Like, I wrote down something, man, just look for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Just look for a reason, right? Look for a reason to find joy.